What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 2SG. Chapter 26 Bakudo no. 81 Splitting Void. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 884. 221. 295. Time and Space Ninjutsu. Third Mizukage's eyes widened. Since the incident occurred in the Kingdom of Whirlpool, he has opened his eyes more and more often. Who? How dare you invade Kurigakure? Chief Kagaya raised his head and glared at the person who came out of the door. Others also stared angrily. Was Kurigakure really being treated like a soft persimmon? First, he was disdained by the Kingdom of Whirlpool, and then he was invaded. But Loquat Juzang's expression changed drastically, and he exclaimed in shock, "The Kingdom of Whirlpool." The familiar style of clothes and the tall and burly figure left a deep impression on him. He instantly recognized the identity of the person coming. Hearing Loquat Juzang's exclamation, the others realized that this group of people who suddenly invaded were actually the Kingdom of Whirlpool that had been having trouble with their Kingdom of Water. Third Mizukage couldn't help but ask, "Didn't you say that the Kingdom of Whirlpool only has a combat strength of more than 200? What is the situation now?" Everyone followed Third Mizukage's gaze and saw people wearing the same attire walking out from behind the boundary gate. It is estimated that there are more than 1,000 people. Loquat Juzang. They did only have more than 200 people at that time, not to mention that he also said that the internal intelligence of the Kingdom of Whirlpool was insufficient. How could this be blamed on him? And what's going on with this time and space ninjutsu? Their army moved directly to the sky above the village. Third Mizukage. The more I look at Loquat Juzo, the more I dislike it. Fortunately, he used to think that Loquat Juzo was very capable and reliable, but in the end he lost 4 members of the 7 Ninja Swordsmen and nearly 300 ninjas, and he couldn't even find out such important information. Loquat Juzang is so wronged. When people beat them, they don't even need time and space ninjutsu. This time and space ninjutsu really caught them off guard. They had just finished a meeting to discuss the attack on the Kingdom of Whirlpool. As a result, the next second, the enemy was directly above their heads. Not even Konoha could break into Kurigakure so easily. Not to mention the heavy defense measures on the outside of Kurigakure, the geographical location of the land of water is surrounded by sea. Once someone attacks the Kingdom of Water, Kurigakure can destroy them in the sea. But unfortunately, the Kingdom of Whirlpool came in so openly. This is the horror of time and space ninjutsu. What's even more terrifying is that this time and space ninjutsu can not only carry out large-scale transfers, but can also bring so many people. Is there no limit to this ninjutsu? As far as he knew, Cloud Shinobi Village mastered a space-time ninjutsu that could teleport over a wide range. However, that technique is very restrictive and requires strong physical qualities, so only the third Raikage can use it. And the time and space ninjutsu in front of me is too outrageous. Possessing this kind of ninjutsu is equivalent to mastering a kind of magic weapon that can appear anytime and anywhere. No matter which ninja village it is placed in, it is quite explosive. Just imagine, 2 armies are fighting, and suddenly an army suddenly descends from the sky, appears in the enemy's rear, and delivers a fatal blow. Who can't win this battle? The power of this country of Vortex is really easy to surprise people. Ninja swords with special abilities, Muji ninjutsu, powerful strength, and now this terrifying time and space ninjutsu has appeared. However, after all, I am still too young. Third Mizukage's eyes narrowed again. If Kurigakure's army pressed against the country of Whirlpool, Kurigakure would definitely suffer great losses if such a powerful weapon was used. But I don't know whether they were brave people with high skills or fearless because they were ignorant, but they actually teleported directly to their base camp. What's the difference between this and taking the initiative? In his opinion, this kind of behavior is simply courting death. Now that they know that the Kingdom of Whirlpool possesses such outrageous time and space ninjutsu, it is impossible to let them go back. Otherwise, it would be difficult to attack the Kingdom of Whirlpool with second thoughts. It must be annihilated in one fell swoop. Thinking of this, he ordered, "Sound the alarm and summon all the ninjas in the village of Kurigakure." Third Mizukage said calmly, "Since the enemies have arrived, we will entertain them well." As soon as he finished speaking, his eyes opened suddenly. Ling Ran said, "Don't let any of them go." Yes. Woo woo woo. The Kurigakure emergency siren instantly rang throughout the village. The ninjas who heard the siren stopped what they were doing and rushed over, no matter what they were doing. The Shinigami stared at the sky with eager eyes. In just a few minutes, the Shinigami's feet were densely packed with ninjas. Ichimaru Jin's expression remained unchanged. He squinted his eyes and said with a gentle smile, "There are too many miscellaneous fish, it's a little noisy." As soon as the words fell, Ichimaru Jin Reiatsu burst out violently. A buzzing sound. The invisible air pressure spread rapidly around Ichimaru Jin and soon enveloped the entire Kurigakure. Under the terrifying pressure, Genin, who was the weakest, didn't even have time to shout. He rolled his eyes and fell to the ground. Like minnows, a large piece fell down. A few seconds later, Chunin also began to feel dizzy and unable to hold on. Originally densely packed with ninjas, only elite Chunin and above were left. Ichimaru Jin is already very satisfied with this result. After all, the power of spreading Reiatsu to the entire ninja village is different from controlling it in a small area. The sudden change in Kurigakure made the people who were originally excited and gearing up to kill the invading enemy suddenly become silent. Third Mizukage's eyes that had just been closed opened again, staring at Ichimaru Jin coldly. The squinting eyes that were as iconic as him made him feel extremely disgusted. He took a deep breath, ignored the ninjas who fell in the center of the battlefield, and gave the order, everyone, water-style water bullet. Hearing Master Mizukage's voice, they all seemed to have found a backbone and quickly formed seals. Water-style water bomb. Nearly 20,000 ninjas were flooded with water bullets, covering the sky and the sun, and rushed towards them. The scope is so wide that there is nowhere to hide and nowhere to escape. But, there is no need to escape. Ichimaru Jin smiled like a snake. Bakudo number 81 splitting void. Buzz. Bang bang bang. When nearly 20,000 water bullets were about to fall on the Shinigami, it seemed as if they suddenly encountered a transparent wall that could no longer be crossed. Eventually it turned into a puddle of water and flowed down the wall. The mist ninja stared blankly at the unharmed Shinigami, unable to understand what happened. The faces of the senior executives, led by Third Mizukage, became more and more solemn. There were nearly 20,000 water bombs, and even they could only escape, so they were blocked like this. What kind of enemy are they facing? Chapter 27 Third Mizukage. The advantage lies in Kurigakure. Splitting void. Third Mizukage pondered these two words carefully. Another ninjutsu that doesn't require seals. It seems as if it can form an invisible wall and intercept all water projectiles. A defensive ninjutsu. However, is this defense too strong? That's 20,000 water bombs. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, Third Mizukage would never believe it. There was actually someone who could block the simultaneous attacks of nearly 20,000 ninjas by himself. Monster. This guy from the Kingdom of Whirlpool is definitely a monster. Even other senior management of Kurigakure were stunned by this shocking scene. They have always known about the power of the Whirlpool Kingdom from the information and descriptions of Loquat Juzang and Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost. As well as the special abilities of several vice captains. This time I finally saw the horror of the Whirlpool country with my own eyes. But Yeme told them that there are still such outrageous characters. The leader of the Gaidong clan, who had always been taciturn, couldn't help but look at Loquat Juzang and said, "Can you escape from such a person?" That look, as if it's up to you to say anything. Loquat Juzang said with a dark face, "We didn't encounter this squinting monster at that time." Speaking of squinting, the third Mizukage of the same style glanced at him. But he has opened his eyes too many times today, and I'm afraid he will be expelled from the squint school soon. Loquat Juzang said with a heavy face, "I'm afraid, this man and the two behind him should be captain-level big shots." Observing carefully, he could clearly see the difference in the attire of these three people and the vice captains who had fought against him before. And he was standing in front of many vice captains, so he probably had a lot of background. Combined with the information previously disclosed by the Kingdom of Whirlpool. So, captain level. The third Mizukage took a deep breath, another unfamiliar figure with no intelligence. And their appearance also confirmed the existence of the captain of the 13th Division of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Just by blocking 20,000 water bullets, this captain's strength has definitely reached cage level. It is even very possible that it is not a simple shadow. After all, the ability he just showed is just the tip of the iceberg. Even the special ninja sword exclusive to the Kingdom of Whirlpool has not been used yet. A captain's expressive power is already so strong, but there are a total of 13 characters like the Whirlpool Kingdom. The third Mizukage suddenly has a toothache. You have such strength. If you don't conquer the ninja world, what are you doing in a small place? Fortunately, I don't know if it's because of the Uzumaki country's arrogance or because they underestimated them. When they invaded Kurigakure, only 3 captains came. Not to mention Kurigakure's huge ninja base, even the high-level combat power is not comparable to that of ordinary ninja villages. In addition to him, Oni-2 Uzuki from the Oni-2 clan and Keigai Mayan from the Teru Yoruichi clan also have cage-level abilities. Even the leader of the Terumi clan has been R*****G for many years in the quasi-shadow stage and is only one step away from breaking through. 4 against 3. Advantage in Kurigakure. Kurigakure's year-round foggy environment allows fog ninjas to only consume a little chakra when using water style to release powerful ninjutsu. Plus Mist Shinobi ninjas unite. The right time, right place and right people. Mist Shinobi has taken both conditions. This battle must be won. It's just that Kurigakure's 7 ninja swordsmen have ceased to exist in name only, and there is a big gap in their mid-level and high-level combat capabilities. As for the team that invaded the Kingdom of Whirlpool, according to Loquat Juzang's description, in addition to the 6 vice captains who fought with them, there seemed to be a few more. This is not good news for Kurigakure. Without the 7 ninja swordsmen, no one can restrain these vice captains who are even stronger than the 7 ninja swordsmen. It must be resolved quickly. Coincidentally, the Kingdom of Whirlpool thought the same way. Although the Kingdom of Whirlpool has a lot of high-level combat power, it has very little grassroots combat power. Nearly 2,000 team members and nearly 20,000 ninjas. This is a tenfold difference. The power of 20,000 ninjas, united, cannot be underestimated. Therefore, the strategy of the country of Whirlpool is to lead the team with the vice captain to eliminate the Mist Shinobi ninjas. Use the deputy captain's combat power to fill the lack of grassroots combat power. The captain completed the beheading operation as quickly as possible. Ichimaru Jin removed the splitting void and said with a smile, "Your attack is over, it's our turn next." Were you playing a turn-based game at the time? Mist Shinobi ninja complained in his mind. Rukia Kuchiki suddenly took a step forward and shouted, "Everyone Kido, come out." Wah wah. Nearly 1,000 people immediately took a step forward. Rukia Kuchiki waved her right arm down, aimed at the mist ninja at her feet, and chanted. The king of arrivals. Masks of flesh and blood, all things, flying high. The team members standing behind her also started singing together. The quick-reacting mist ninja quickly thought of the information about the Muji ninjutsu of the land of Whirlpool that had been shared by Master Mizukage. His expression immediately changed and he shouted, "Stop them quickly." The quick-reacting ninjas began to form seals one after another, and they used various ninjutsu to attack the sky. But soon, another group of people appeared in the Kido crowd. Bakudo's 39-round gate fan. Buzz. In front of the Kido crowd, circular defensive walls rose up. The circular walls rotated at high speed, blocking the first batch of ninjutsu to attack. Before the next batch of ninjutsu attacks. Truth and temperance, the wall of a dream without knowing sin, only stand there. Hado's 33. Blue fire pendant. Blue beams of light emitted from the palms of the Kido crowd, and they rushed toward the mist ninjas at extremely fast speeds. Boom. The blue fire fell so fast that the mist ninjas had no time to dodge before they were enveloped by a blue ocean. Ah! The ninja who was attacked let out a miserable howl. But it was soon covered up by the huge explosion of the Kengwo pendant, and a thick smoke rose up. When the thick smoke dissipated, the scene inside was quickly revealed. A large number of ninjas lay scattered on the ground with broken limbs and broken arms. The smell of blood mixed with smoke and dust poured into everyone's nostrils. The scene was extremely tragic. Third Mizukage's eyes widened and he clenched his fists, unable to maintain his calm face any longer. Gritting his teeth, he said, "How dare you? How dare you?" Ichimaru Jin smiled in surprise. Oh, why does Mizukage-sama show such an expression? Isn't it normal for people to die in war? The Kido crowd led by Rukia Kuchiki did not consider the feelings of Third Mizukage at all. Turn around and prepare to fire at another wave of ninjas. Don't even think about it. Upon seeing this, Third Mizukage immediately used the body flicker technique and wanted to attack Rukia Kuchiki, but was stopped by a figure midway. Ichimaru Jin took out the rib-like Zanpakuto and said with a smile, "No, Mizukage-sama's opponent is me." Third Mizukage felt a sudden chill in his heart, as if he had an illusion of being strangled by a snake. This man. Chapter 28. You can't imagine how powerful Ichimaru is. Ichimaru Jin smiled and said in a gentlemanly manner. Ichimaru Jin, Captain of Gotei 13 Division 3, from the country of Whirlpool, please give me your advice. Secret technique. 1000 kills Shuixiang. Third Mizukage ignored his self-introduction and quickly formed the seal. The water vapor in the air quickly condenses into water like steel needles. Then add his ice attribute chakra nature. The cold steel needles shot at Ichimaru Jin from all directions in an instant. Ichimaru Jin's expression remained unchanged, and when Senzusui Sho was less than 1 meter away from him, he waved Zanpakuto gently. Ding ding. There was a crisp collision sound, and the Zanpakuto in Ichimaru Jin's hand turned into afterimages, killing all the sense of Shuixiang. Mizukage-sama is really impatient. What a fast knife. Seeing that this move was easily resolved, Third Mizukage was a little shocked by Ichimaru Jin's swordsmanship, but he was not surprised by it. As the so-called captain of the 13th Division of the Kingdom of Whirlpool, it was naturally impossible for him to be hit by such a simple move. He was just using it as a test to get some information about the man in front of him. Unfortunately, he couldn't even fully capture Ichimaru Jin's sword-drawing speed. This man is probably the most powerful enemy he has encountered since becoming the Third Mizukage. Third Mizukage has deep eyes. As Kurigakure's Mizukage, he can only win this war. We must win. In this regard, Third Mizukage is also confident. Don't forget, he is also the strongest person in Kurigakure. He is one of the few figures who stands at the top of the ninja world today. As the bodyguard of the first Mizukage and the disciple of the second Mizukage, he is confident that he is not weaker than any of the Kage from the other 4 great ninja villages. And as someone who has witnessed the era of the ninja god Senju Hashirama and the ninja Shira Uchiha Madara. And I have witnessed with my own eyes the classic scene of first Hokage sitting in rows and hair-tailed beasts. He didn't believe that no matter how strong he was, he could still be compared with first Hokage. Third Mizukage said quietly, "I will make you understand how wrong it is to be an enemy of Kurigakure." Ichimaru Jin keeps smiling. It disappeared instantly in the next second, leaving only an afterimage. At some point, Ichimaru Jin, who had already arrived at Third Mizukage's side, whispered in his ear. "You are not worthy to be the enemy of the Kingdom of Whirlpool." Third Mizukage's pupils shrank suddenly, and a knife suddenly stabbed his ribs. Laugh. Third Mizukage's neck was penetrated instantly, but Ichimaru Jin smiled and said, "The reaction was good." The next second, the pierced Third Mizukage suddenly disappeared, leaving only a cold ice sculpture. Ice escape ice clone. The Third Mizukage appeared behind Ichimaru Jin and said without mercy, "Ice release ice formation pillar." Boom. Diamond-shaped icicles suddenly rose from the ground, stabbing Ichimaru Jin fiercely. Ichimaru Jin used Shunpo in a leisurely manner, tossing and turning on each icicle. Every time the icicle was about to touch him, it would disappear the next moment. The Third Mizukage did not give up and continued to attack Ichimaru Jin's foothold with icicles. It's like playing a cat-and-mouse game. Until a certain moment, a smile appeared on Third Mizukage's always cold face, and he sneered, "You have already stepped into my trap." Ichimaru Jin stopped suddenly and looked around, realizing that he was surrounded by icicles. The mist ninjas who saw this scene said excitedly, Mizukage-sama wins. As expected of Mizukage-sama. HMPH, even a mere country of Whirlpool dares to be my enemy, Kurigakure, I don't know what to say. Kill him, Mizukage-sama. Revenge for your dead comrades. The mist ninjas looked crazy and wanted to tear these invading enemies into pieces. Ghost Langyu also disdainfully smiled and said, Haha, is this the powerful captain of the Kingdom of Whirlpool? As he said that, he glanced at Loquat Juzang who was entangled with the vice captain not far away. He really couldn't figure out how a person like this could almost annihilate the 7 ninja swordsmen. Kagaya Mayan burst out laughing and said arrogantly, we Kurigakure are indeed invincible, ha ha ha. Chief Terumi, just say this in the village, never outside. But seeing Mizukage-sama gain the upper hand, I felt relieved. But for some reason, he always had an unknown premonition in his heart but he couldn't put it into words. The mist ninjas shouted loudly, seeming to vent their frustration at being suppressed and beaten by the Kido crowd led by Rukia Kuchiki. Ichimaru Jin looked around at the situation, still maintaining his signature smile, and seemed not to be affected in any way. Some even commented Shenshin, your ice is so weak. Third Mizukage's eyes narrowed and he snorted coldly, how dare you talk so shamelessly when you are about to die. Ichimaru Jin smiled slightly and did not continue to say anything. Instead, he controlled the spirit sun and flew towards the sky. Since the ground is already surrounded by icicles, why not just fly up? Seeing this scene, the voices of the mist ninjas suddenly stopped. But Gui Deng Haoyu smiled confidently. He believed that Mizukage-sama must have expected this. Sure enough, third Mizukage raised his lips slightly and said, you don't think I can't think of this, do you? He would not forget the way the Whirlpool Kingdoms appeared. To this day, there are still people from the Kingdom of Whirlpool walking in the sky. Although I don't know why the Kingdom of Whirlpool has so many weird ninjutsu, even flying ninjutsu, everyone has one. But there was no way he would miss such important information. This hole was left intentionally by him. The reason, of course, is to invite you to enter the urn to ensure that the next ninjutsu will hit with one hit. Third Mizukage's eyes widened. He stood on the top of the icicle and formed a seal with his hands. His speed was so fast that he could only see a blurry afterimage. Ice release frost sky flying dragon. The sky in Kurigakure suddenly started to fall with white frost, and a lizard-like frost creature more than 20 meters tall gathered from behind the third Mizukage. Roar. A violent roar resounded throughout Kurigakure. Wherever the sound wave passed, the white frost instantly froze again and turned into particles and fell. When the mist ninja saw the miraculous ninjutsu of third Mizukage, the enthusiasm and madness in his eyes overflowed. Mizukage-sama's name is shouted everywhere. Hito Uzuki trembled, this is our Kurigakure's Mizukage-sama. Ichimaru Jin, dead. Almost everyone in Kurigakure issued a death notice to Ichimaru Jin. No one can stop this terrifying ice escape. Not to mention, all other directions have been blocked by Mizukage-sama's icicles. Ichimaru Jin, there is no way to escape. The Terumi clan leader subconsciously looked in the direction of the people of Whirlpool country, trying to see the panic and fear in their expressions. How is it possible? Terumi clan chief's pupils were dilated, and his face was expressionless, even a bit mocking. Why, aren't they afraid? Their captain is going to be killed. Sui Feng noticed his gaze and smiled disdainfully, her lips moving as if she was saying something. But because of Shuangtian Shanglong, he couldn't hear clearly. But through the mouth shape, you can barely see it. You can't imagine how powerful Ichimaru is. Chapter 29 Shoot him, Shinso. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 523. 131. 174. You can't imagine how powerful Ichimaru is. The Terumi clan leader was shocked when he read this sentence based on Sui Feng's lip shape. A feeling of horror surged into his heart, and he hurriedly looked in the direction of the battle. Frost Sky Flying Dragon. Third Mizukage shouted low, and the giant lizard dragon behind him seemed to have received some order, and its scarlet eyes opened instantly. The dragon's eyes, which were like flames jumping inside, looked at Ichimaru Jin with great pressure, and then swooped down. Wherever it passed, the sky was filled with cold air, and the water vapor in the air instantly condensed into an icy road in the sky. Soon, a shadow fell over Ichimaru Jin. Ichimaru Jin raised his head, his huge body blocking the only space above the icicle. The third Mizukage stared at Ichimaru Jin with cold eyes, as if looking at a corpse. But what surprised him was that Ichimaru Jin was not as panicked and frightened as he thought. Even calm. Why? Third Mizukage suppressed the doubts in his heart and stared at Ichimaru Jin. As long as Shimo Tianxianglong's attack hits, Ichimaru Jin will definitely die without a burial place. Hoo. The death battle suit on Ichimaru Jin were due to the air pressure. The closer the Frost Sky Shanglong is, the more he can feel that his body is becoming rigid. It's like an icy chill has penetrated your bones. Just as the Frost Sky Shanglong swallowed him up, Ichimaru Jin's snake-like smile became more and more captivating. I told you, you have too much ice. Ichimaru Jin suddenly opened his slender eyes, and the murderous aura in his light blue pupils made third Mizukage's hair stand on end. I have seen Bing who is much stronger than you. He slowly raised the rib-like Zanpakuto in his hand, like a child picking up a short dagger in an attempt to become a dragon-slaying warrior. Could he? Everyone's eyes widened, but they quickly shook their heads. No, impossible. Facing that level of ninjutsu, what's the use of holding that knife? Only Terumi clan chief had a ridiculous thought flashing through his mind, and at the same time he also knew where the uneasiness in his heart came from. This captain has yet to use his special ability of the ninja sword. Ichimaru Jin opened his eyes and uttered a few words coldly. Shoot him, Shinso. Buzz. Poof. Third Mizukage bowed his head. Tick-tock. A drop of blood fell, and Third Mizukage's pupils couldn't stop trembling. What? When? Waves of severe pain entered his brain, and at some point, a blade penetrated his chest. The Third Mizukage looked in the direction of the blade. Frost Sky Shanglong stopped its swooping body, and the blade passed through its huge body. The owner of the sword is none other than Ichimaru Jin, who was standing in front of the giant mouth of Frost Sky Shoryu. Boom. Shuangtian Shanglong gradually opens his Shikai body. Huge ice blocks fell off from the body and hit the ground one by one, making a huge noise. The joy of victory among the mist ninjas came to an abrupt end, and their eyes were even filled with confusion and confusion. Prevailing. Isn't it there Mizukage-sama? Why? In the blink of an eye, the situation was reversed. They didn't even see how the enemy attacked, and then Master Mizukage was stabbed. Isn't this right? Mizukage-sama. Gui Deng Haoyu and others' eyes widened, ignoring the shock in their hearts, and hurried over. Boom. As if hitting a wall, Gui Lan Wanyu and others were knocked back instantly. Komamura Sajin appeared and said seriously, as long as I'm here, you can't even think about overstepping your bounds. Get out of my way. The muscles in Kido Uzuki's right arm instantly increased and he slammed Komamura Sajin hard. Luxurious water wrist technique. Boom. Komamura Sajin raised his arm to block and made a dull sound. But it didn't shake Komamura Sajin's figure at all. Instead, taking this opportunity, Komamura Sajin swung out with a palm. The terrifying palm pressure scrapes like a ghostly lamp and hazy moon. Komamura Sajin was surprised. I saw Gui Deng Haoyu's body, turning into a puddle of water and falling to the ground at the moment of being tortured by the palm pressure. Under his surprised eyes, the water on the ground gathered again, forming the body of Ghost Lantern. Ghost Lantern's hand was shaped like a pistol. Water iron cannon technique. Bullets of water quickly condensed. Wow. Suddenly, before Gui Deng Haoyu's water iron cannon could be released, his arm was attacked again and hydrated. Sui Feng retracted his powerful thighs and said with interest, interesting. Komamura, you go deal with the other two, I'm going to try my sword on him. The opponent was intercepted by Sui Feng. Komamura Sajin did not complain at all, and silently rushed in the direction of Kagaya Mayan and Terumi clan leader. In his opinion, as long as he can complete the mission of Lord Soul King, let alone give up the enemy to Sui Feng, he will not hesitate even if it means death. Sui Feng carefully watched the changes in the ghost lamp and hazy moon, and his heart was very interested. Could it be that her Zanpakuto finally has a use? Gui Deng Haoyu remained in a semi-hydrated state and gradually calmed down. Like that man, you two are also captains of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Sui Feng was in a good mood and said, not bad. Oni Deng Haoyu's eyes narrowed, thinking about the numbers behind their yori that he had observed before. The second team, the third team and the seventh team. Okay, as long as I kill you, this war will be completely over. As soon as he finished speaking, Gui Deng Haoyu's arm muscle surged again and he hit Sui Feng hard. That man is tough enough, can you, a woman, be as tough as him? Kaiden Ogyu guessed right. Sui Feng is indeed not as hard as Komamura Sajin, but her petite body is flexible enough and extremely fast. Ghost Deng Haoyu waved his heavy arms, but he couldn't touch Sui Feng. Instead, Sui Feng's taijutsu knocked his hydration technique back to normal. Hanging persimmon, windmill, long carp. Ghost Deng Haoyu was dazzled by the various physical skills and could not keep up with Sui Feng's rhythm. If it weren't for the hydration technique, he would have died countless times. Ghost Deng Haoyu mocked. Give up, you can't kill me at all. Instant coax. The air pressure on Sui Feng suddenly surged, and the surrounding buildings were instantly crushed. Gui Deng Haoyu's eyes widened and she looked at the changes in Sui Feng in shock. What amazing power. Sui Feng took a deep breath and punched him fiercely. Boom. A deep and long pit formed instantly, and the water after the ghost lamp hazy moon melted was broken into pieces. Scattered in every corner of Kurigakure. But after a while, puddles of water squirmed from all directions toward the center, and soon, Gui Deng Haoyu's face reshaped itself. Just wait for the other water to crawl back, and it will soon be able to rejoin. Gui Deng Haoyu breathed a sigh of relief. The scene just now was really shocking. If this woman's opponent were anyone else, she would definitely die. It's a pity that it was her misfortune to meet him, Gui Deng Haoyu. Ha ha ha, I told you that you can't kill me. Ghost Deng Longyu mocked. If you have any other skills, just use them. If I shout, I'll call you grandma. I don't have such an ugly grandson. Sui Feng looked coldly and said, your technique is indeed interesting, but I don't know if you can withstand the 2 blows of my Zanpakuto. Sting all enemies, Uzumaki. Chapter 30. Killing people must be punished. Sting all enemies, Uzumaki. With the liberation speech, Sui Feng's Zanpakuto transformed into a tiny metal knuckle dagger. The first 2 sections of the finger gauntlet are gold, and the end knot consists of 2 black stripes similar to the belly of a bee. There is a thin chain at the end connected to the gauntlet. Ghost Deng Haoyu was still taunting. 2 strikes. Even if it's 100 strikes, you can't kill me. Ha ha. Uzumaki stabbed the ghost's face, and a black butterfly-like pattern appeared. Gui Deng Haoyu felt panicked for no reason, and said in a panic, What is this? Sui Feng didn't pay attention to his shouting. At this moment, Gui Deng Haoyu was like a fish on a display board in front of her, letting her be slaughtered. After finally meeting someone who couldn't be killed by her one blow, I originally wanted to play for a while longer. Unfortunately, this guy is too noisy and is obviously not a qualified toy. Ghost Azuka watched Uzumaki getting closer and closer after stabbing for the second time, squirming wildly in the water. The biological instinct told him that once she stabbed him, he would definitely die. Etc. Oni Deng Haoyu wanted to say something more, but Kui Feng was obviously tired of it and stabbed Uzumaki directly in the center of Feng Wenhua. Buzz. The honeycomb pattern changed again and took on the shape of overlapping bald edges. Kaka. The expression of the hydrated ghost Langyu paused in fear, cracks spread from his face, and with a final bang, it turned into water vapor and dissipated in the air. Even other water bodies still on the road were not spared. The ghost lamp dims the moon, suddenly. Sui Feng let out a comfortable exhale. Feeling comfortable, I finally killed someone with Uzumaki. The mist ninjas who were still paying attention to Mizukage-sama's situation did not expect that even the leader of the Onodin clan was killed. The eyes of the mist ninjas were dull, and an endless despair rose in their hearts. In particular, the Ghost Lantern clan felt even more sad when they saw their clan leader die without leaving even a drop of water. Even the hydration technique they rely on for survival can be easily cracked by the enemy. Also, what else can be done? Who can save Kurigakure? Dance of Karamatsu. What responded to them was the roar of the leader of the Teru Yoruichi clan. Boom. Komamura Sajin slashed Kagaya Mayan's body with a knife, and the high-density bones made a crisp sound. So hard. Komamura Sajin commented in his mind. Willow dance. The bones in his shoulders, elbows, palms, and knees broke out of the skin and stabbed straight at Komamura Sajin. Komamura Sajin didn't hold on, and Shunko dodged directly. Kagaya Mayan, however, kept on attacking and opened up directly. Early fern dance. The ground in Kurigakure looks like an earth dragon is surging. Puff puff. Densely dense bone spurs surged up from the ground, and Komamura Sajin frowned under his mask. Use your spiritual power to fly into the sky. But the bone spurs persevered and grew crazily, chasing Komamura Sajin and launching continuous attacks. Ding ding. Komamura Sajin swung his Zanpakuto, blocking all the bone spurs. But soon, a figure was lifted up by other bone spurs. Boil-style Chaowu technique. A large amount of high-heat mist was spit out and quickly enveloped the area. The affected bone spurs were quickly melted. Bone forest establishes a ground advantage and can melt all acid mist to carry out wide-area strikes. Komamura Sajin praised. Good cooperation. But to the ears of the two of them, it seemed very ironic. However, in the face of absolute strength, it is still not enough. Komamura Sajin shook his head sadly. Roar. Damn it. A huge black armored arm holding a giant blade suddenly appeared from behind Komamura Sajin. Komamura Sajin was seen gently waving his sword, and his huge black armored arm was synchronized with his movements. A violent wind instantly blew up from the sky above Kurigakure, blowing away the acid mist and landing on the fog ninjas not far away. Being stained by the acid mist, the skin of the mist ninjas was gradually corroded, and they howled horribly. The Terumi clan leader's face turned gloomy. The enemy's strength was somewhat beyond their imagination. Chief Terumi couldn't help but look around. A sad look suddenly appeared on his face. Master Mizukage was stabbed through the heart, and his life and death are unknown. Gui Deng Haoyu was so dead that even her shadow disappeared. Although the mist ninjas were large in number, under the leadership of the vice-captains of the country of Whirlpool, they were unable to do anything to affect the conditions on the battlefield. Even at certain moments, you will be beaten to the point of running away. There is an atmosphere of despair and depression throughout Kurigakure. The arm of heavenly punishment swung down with a knife. The Terumi clan leader spat out lava style on his arm. Zzzz. Wisps of green smoke rose up on the arm, and the corrosive liquid instantly corroded the arm. Good news, lava style works. Bad news, my arms are too big to throw up. Hoo-hoo. The giant arms of the scourge came roaring with strong winds. I come. Kagaya Mayan shouted angrily, and the dense hard bones separated from his body, forming a circular bone shield, wrapping the two of them. Boom. The huge force shook the bone shield so much that bits of bone fragments flew up. But it still has a blocking effect. Just as they took a breath, Komamura Sajin suddenly pressed down. Kaka. The sound of cracking bones was heard. The next moment, the bone shield instantly shattered, revealing the shocked expressions of Kagaya Mayan and Chief Terumi. After reacting, the two wanted to form a seal, but obviously, Komamura Sajin would not give them a chance. The giant arm of the scourge followed the inertia and smashed down hard. Boom. The ground shook violently several times, kicking up a cloud of dust. The buildings on the street are like tofu, splashing everywhere. When the dust dispersed, a deep slash pit came into view. Komamura Sajin was punished by revolving heaven. The bloody pieces of flesh could no longer tell who was who. Komamura Sajin has no interest in distinguishing, as long as the task assigned by the Soul King is completed. At this point, several representative high-level figures such as Onido Uzuki, Kagaya Mayono, Terumi clan leader, and Kurigakure have all been annihilated. The Kurigakure mission has also come to an end. Ichimaru Jin withdrew Shinso from the heart of Third Mizukage. Poof! A bloody sword spurted out. Third Mizukage's mouth was bleeding and he stared at Ichimaru Jin. Only then did he understand how he was stabbed. That ninja sword that can freely expand and contract its length and is extremely fast. Ichimaru Jin closed his eyes again and said with a smile, "Thank you Mizukage-sama for lending a helping hand." Third Mizukage stared, wondering what he was going to say. Ichimaru Jin continued, "If it weren't for Mizukage-sama's long and big lizard covering the blade for me, it would be really difficult for you to be unable to react at such a long distance." Quote exclamation mark quote. Killing people is also heartbreaking. The third Mizukage catalog is about to burst, and the rich hatred seems to be about to overflow. But, he can't do anything. Chapter 31 Unlocking Hueco Mundo, the Kingdom of Water brand health field. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 819. 205. 273. The Land of Water, Kurigakure. Plop. Third Mizukage fell to the ground, blood quickly flowing out into a pool of blood, and his vision gradually began to blur. A pair of dull eyes stared at Ichimaru Jin's back. Suddenly there was a light drizzle in the sky, which seemed to tell the story of Kurigakure's defeat. A faint flash of blood flashed through his eyes. The Kingdom of Earth, a dark underground place. A pair of 3 Tomo Sharingan suddenly appeared in the darkness. In the Kingdom of Whirlpool, when did such a mysterious force appear? Quote. It's a pity. It was supposed to be completed soon, but now I have to search again. Leaving behind such an inexplicable word, the cave once again returned to darkness. The country of Whirlpool, Seireiyan. Ding. Congratulations to host for completing the mission, clearing the Kurigakure instance, and unlocking Hueco Mundo as a reward. The moment Ichimaru Jin and the others captured Kurigakure, a sweet voice sounded in Uzumaki Chihiro's mind. He opened the system map, and a different space shadow named Hueco Mundo appeared. Hueco Mundo. There is a 50% probability of absorbing evil souls and transforming into the soldier type, void. Close black lens bracket. Note. Hollow can advance by swallowing human souls, and can travel to and from the present world through the Hueco Mundo entrance. Please choose the entrance location carefully. Close black lens bracket. Can it absorb evil souls and transform them into soldiers? It turns out to be a Rukongei with the same effect. Uzumaki Chihiro has some surprises, that is, there are restrictions on evil souls. But the problem is not big, the most indispensable thing in the world is bad people. Moreover, these voids can also devour human souls to advance. In other words, this Hueco Mundo is simply a unit-making machine. As for Kion's position as a villain in the world of Shinigami. As long as he obeys, Uzumaki Chihiro doesn't care. According to memory, Uzumaki Chihiro understands that there are 4 levels of hollows. They are Ordinary Void, Jillian, Ejukas, and Vasto Lord. If you use reputation points to draw it, it will probably consume a lot. Now with Hueco Mundo, except for Vasto Lord, who is difficult to cultivate, everyone else does not need to waste reputation points. However, you need to choose a good location for the entrance of Hueco Mundo, so that the virtual objects produced inside can look for advanced materials. Anyway, it is impossible for Uzumaki Chihiro to place the entrance to the country of Whirlpool. After all, Shinigami and Hollow are incompatible with each other, so meeting may lead to a wave of purification. At this moment, he suddenly discovered that there was an extra piece on the map of the system. Take a closer look, isn't it officially a kingdom of water? System, what's going on now? Ding. It has been detected that host has successfully cleared the Kurigakure instance, and the kingdom of water has been automatically determined to be host sphere of influence. Well, sensible. In this case, the location of the Hueco Mundo entrance has been arranged. Anyway, the Kingdom of Water was also one of the culprits of the Kingdom of Whirlpool's demise, so he didn't feel any distress at all. Not only does it allow Shu to come out to look for food, but it also allows Shu to gain reputation. Good. That's it. The Kingdom of Water Yangshu field has officially started construction. Uzumaki Chihiro's finger on the map has already decided the future fate of the Land of Water. In the Kingdom of Water, in an unknown corner, ripples suddenly appeared in the space, and then disappeared. Uzumaki Chihiro opens the panoramic map of Hueco Mundo. What you can see is a high crescent moon, a barren white desert, and dead trees that look like quartz everywhere. As for Shu, not yet. After all, it has just been unlocked, no matter how hard you think, it can't be that fast. The space of Hueco Mundo suddenly flashed with ripples, the spirit sun fluctuated, and soon a strange walking species with a hollow in its chest appeared in front of Uzumaki Chihiro. Uzumaki Chihiro. This slap in the face came really quickly. Facts have proved that there is no shortage of bad people in this world. No, as soon as I unlocked Hueco Mundo, I immediately attracted one. Uzumaki Chihiro looked at the newly born hollow. Ordinary virtual. Potential. Normal. Identity during life. Ordinary civilians in the Kingdom of Rain. Ability. Corrosive liquid. Uzumaki Chihiro. With this mediocre information, he was afraid that this Shu would be beaten to death if he went out. System. What does this potential mean? Ding. The higher the potential, the more special the ability, and the more it transcends classes. I see. After understanding Hueco Mundo's operating model, I saw several false starts one after another. It's just that there aren't a few with high potential. Just when he was about to leave, the fluctuation in the distance between links made him pause. The next moment, a fat and distinctive virtual person was born. Ordinary virtual, open black lens bracket potential, Ejuka's close black lens bracket. Identity in life. Kurigakure 7 Ninja Swordsmen, Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost. Ability. Hair Control. Turns out to be the Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost. Isn't this an old acquaintance? The last time she escaped from Rukia Kuchiki, she talked about it a lot. This invasion of Kurigakure was finally going as she wished. He also sent the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost to Hueco Mundo. What a blessed general he is. Not bad, not bad, I will reward you with 2 chicken legs when I go back. Staring at the information on the Watermelon Mountain Blowfish Ghost, he clicked his tongue and said, as expected of the 7 ninja swordsmen, their potential has directly reached the level of Ajukas. As for the ability to control hair, he guessed it was related to his ability during his lifetime. In addition to the broadsword Samahata and the water style that he is good at, the most powerful thing that the Watermelon Mountain Fugu Oni can do is probably the ninjutsu developed with hair. I carry it with me even after I become a void. Not surprising either. While Uzumaki Chihiro was observing him, the red hair on Kion's body suddenly moved. He grabbed the other ordinary virtual beings and bit them down without hesitation. Uzumaki Chihiro was stunned for a moment, and then realized that in addition to devouring human souls, hollows can also evolve by devouring their own kind. After thinking about it, Uzumaki Chihiro didn't stop him. In addition to this being the survival rule of virtual beings, it is also because those virtual ones with no potential seem to have a hard time defeating genin, so they might as well become nourishment for other virtual ones with good potential. After observing for a while, Uzumaki Chihiro, who felt bored, also returned to Seireiyan. As soon as I came back, I saw that Rukia Kuchiki had returned to Seireiyan in advance, preparing to report to him about the Kingdom of Water. After Ichimaru Jin and the others killed all Kurigakure's high-end combat power, they temporarily took over Kurigakure and waited for Uzumaki Chihiro's order. Under the absolute suppression of strength, the ninjas of Kurigakure did not dare to get angry or speak out. Because those who dared have been dragged out and killed. If the rest want to survive, they must listen to Ichimaru Jin and the others. As for the great names of the Kingdom of Water, they were also killed by Sui Feng. Well, because after hearing that the Kingdom of Water will be in charge of the Spirit King from now on, you still dare to refute. So, Sui Feng killed him directly. Just an ordinary person without any force, since he can't recognize the form, he should just die. From now on, there is no so-called daimyo in the Kingdom of Water, only the Spirit King. Chapter 32 Senju Nawaki. Spiritual Arts Academy. It has been determined that it will serve as a virtual incubation base in the future. Uzumaki Chihiro has no interest in him. As for whether there will be chaos in the future, Uzumaki Chihiro doesn't care, as long as Hollow can evolve. From time to time, use Kion and Shinigami to go to the Kingdom of Water to increase your reputation and follow the path of sustainable development. After clearing the Water Kingdom dungeon, Uzumaki Chihiro's reputation has once again skyrocketed by more than 300,000, and it's still rising. This is just the reputation value provided by the Kingdom of Water. Once this incident spreads, there will be a huge wave of reputation points. Now his cumulative reputation value has reached more than 900,000. There are only a few tens of thousands left to complete the mission. At that point, he can unlock the new building Spiritual Arts Academy. After unlocking the Spiritual Arts Academy, you can not only select high-quality souls from the ninja world to enter the Spiritual Arts Academy to study, and finally become Shinigami. Uzumaki Chihiro's Zanpakuto is also finally able to get a Zanpakuto. Just wait until the accumulated reputation points exceed 1 million. After passing Kurigakure, many new faces appeared on Rukongai in the country of Whirlpool. Except for some unknown Genin Chunin Jonin. There are also some familiar figures. Open black lens bracket Loquat 10 treasures close black lens bracket. Potential. Vice Captain level. Strength during life. Elite Jonin. Suggestion. Recruit Spiritual Arts Academy and become a Shinigami. Oh, isn't this an old friend? Loquat Juzo looks exactly the same as when he was alive. But like everyone else, when he first came to Rukongai, he still looked confused. I guess I should wake up after a few days. If it is a soul with little potential, I am afraid that it will remain in this state of confusion for the rest of its life. The more potential a soul has, the faster it will wake up. After reading the information about Loquat Juzo, Uzumaki Chihiro looked elsewhere. Open black lens bracket Ghost Lantern Hazy Moon close black lens bracket. Potential. Captain level. Strength during life. Shadow. Suggestion. Full of potential, it is recommended to serve as the captain's backup and increase training efforts. Oh, Uzumaki Chihiro's eyes lit up. Rukongai has been unlocked for so long, and this is the first time he has seen a soul with potential reaching the captain level. But it's also reasonable. After all, he is one of Kurigakure's top combat powers, if it weren't for Sui Feng's Zanpakuto being too restrained against him. It will probably take some time to resolve it. Unlike Loquat Juzang, Gui Deng How you woke up very quickly. I woke up almost as soon as I arrived at Rukongai. And the first thing he did was to find something to eat. So hungry. Uzumaki Chihiro also understands that the higher the potential of the soul, the stronger the hunger. However, high-quality souls like Ghost Lantern usually live in streets rich in resources and food. I'm not worried that he will starve to death. Another quality soul is also Kurigakure's. Open black lens bracket Kagaya Mayan close black lens bracket. Potential. Captain level. Strength during life. Shadow. Suggestion. Full of potential, it is recommended to serve as the captain's backup and increase training efforts. Now it's good, the Onodin clan and the Teru Yoruichi clan are all here. There is also a member of the Terumi clan over there. Open black lens bracket Tumahui close black lens bracket. Strength during life. Quasi-shadow. Potential. Captain level. Suggestion. Full of potential, it is recommended to serve as the captain's backup and increase training efforts. Has Quenying strength and potential reached captain level? Uzumaki Chihiro mused. I don't know if it's because Terumi Teru is one step away from breaking through the shadows, or because of other factors. That is, just when Uzumaki Chihiro was thinking, he suddenly saw a strange and familiar boy. The boy has short brown hair and 2 red cheeks on his face. He was looking at the surrounding environment with a curious expression, touching his belly with his hand from time to time. Looks very hungry. Isn't this Senju Nawaki? As the only few scenes in the original work, they are supporting characters who appear in Tsunade's memory. But in this life, he is of the Uzumaki clan after all, and he still knows something about Senju Nawaki, the heir to the Senju clan. But, Senju Nawaki is also dead. Rukia, what's the situation in the Kingdom of Rain now? Rukia Kuchiki, who has been by Uzumaki Chihiro's side, bowed slightly and said. Lord Wei Ling Wang, according to the news from the 8th Division, the war between Konoha and Tsunade is very tragic. Many people have died and entered Rukongai. Uzumaki Chihiro said slightly puzzled. I remember it was just a few days ago when the fight started, right? Yes, Lord Spirit King. This is where things get interesting. Just a few days after the war started, the heir to the Senju clan died. And according to the original description, Senju Nawaki is also a disciple of Orochimaru. Could this happen under Orochimaru's nose? Forget it, he didn't bother to think about other villages. From now on, Senju Nawaki is his Rukongai subject. Open black lens bracket Senju Nawaki close black lens bracket. Potential. Captain level. Strength during life. Chunin. Suggestion. Full of potential, it is recommended to serve as the captain's backup and increase training efforts. Quote. Uzumaki Chihiro frowned and realized that something was not right. Chunin. The potential is captain level. Uzumaki Chihiro asked in his mind. System, what is the accuracy of judging this potential? Ding. Due to the special nature of this world, the bloodline during life will have a certain impact on the potential. In other words, is it because of the Senju clan that Senju Nawaki's potential is so high? Maybe there is also the reason why Senju Hashirama is the direct grandson. But that doesn't matter anymore. Now that they have come to the Kingdom of Whirlpool, they are good people who work for him. In fact, Uzumaki Chihiro is still looking forward to what they will look like after becoming Shinigami. Hydration technique, dead bone pulse, boil style lava style, and a direct lineage from Senju Hashirama. What kind of Zanpakuto can be awakened? After inspecting the situation in Rukongai, I got a lot of surprises. Uzumaki Chihiro returned to Seribu's residence and quietly waited for the accumulation of reputation points. After a while, the system prompt finally sounded. Ding. It has been detected that the host has completed Phase 3 of the main mission and is distributing the reward, Spiritual Arts Academy. Buzz. The system map appeared, and the shadow of a school-like building jumped up. Spiritual Arts Academy. A building that can cultivate the Shinigami military unit, with its own teaching materials, hundreds of professional instructors and a place that provides sealed state. Uzumaki Chihiro had bright eyes and without hesitation, he directly placed the Spiritual Arts Academy where it originally belonged to Seribu. With a buzz, there was another building in Seireiyan. However, everyone understood that this was the work of Lord Spirit King, so they were not surprised. Rukia, let me know, Spiritual Arts Academy is preparing to start enrollment. Yes. Chapter 33 Senju Nawaki. I want to be a Shinigami too. A few days later, in the Kingdom of Whirlpool, Spiritual Arts Academy's enrollment information has been hung at the 4 gates of Seireiyan. There is also a temporary admissions office at the door. Those who are interested can register first. The news has been announced, and long queues have formed at every door. Those who have a little bit of awareness can understand that this is an opportunity to change their own destiny and become a master. But Spiritual Arts Academy is not for everyone. In every temporary admissions office, there is a spiritual power detection device with a low upper limit. This device was taken from the Technology Development Bureau and is used to check whether each person's Reiatsu is qualified according to the one seen during registration. Although Uzumaki Chihiro can see everyone's basic information through the system. But as the spiritual king, it was naturally impossible for him to come in person to help with enrollment. Besides, after unlocking so many buildings and recruiting so many ordinary troops, isn't that just for this time? Senju Nawaki couldn't help but come over when he saw how busy the place was. But because he had just arrived in Rukongai not long ago, he had no idea about Spiritual Arts Academy. After looking at the green hair in front, Senju Nawaki poked it gently and asked, Uncle, what are you signing up for? Black Holeya felt pain in his waist, turned around and said fiercely, I'm not an uncle. Boy, I'm still very young. Ah ha ha, Senju Nawaki scratched his face in embarrassment and said shamelessly, Brother, what are you doing? Black Holeya looked at a fool and said, What to do? Of course, sign up for the Spiritual Arts Academy. What's the use of this? Of course it will work. Once you become a student of the Spiritual Arts Academy, you can become a Shinigami after graduation. Shinigami. Senju Nawaki is a little unfamiliar with this term. Black Ho-Raiga pointed to the Seireiyan inside the door and said, "Did you see that those big shots in the Seireiyan are Shinigami?" Well, Senju Nawaki still doesn't quite understand the point of becoming a Shinigami. In his opinion, there is no big shot, Seireiyan or Seireiyan. The Rukongai where he lives now is also very good. Black Ho-Raiga's tone gradually became fanatical. As long as you can become a Shinigami, you will not only be able to live in Seireiyan, but you will also be able to become stronger and become an immortal. Senju Nawaki's eyes suddenly lit up. Become stronger. Uncle, brother, can I become stronger by signing up for the Spiritual Arts Academy? Black Ho-Raiga said impatiently. Of course, those Shinigami-sama can discharge electricity and spit fire just by saying a few words, that's amazing. Senju Nawaki's eyes became determined, he also wanted to sign up for the Spiritual Arts Academy. Practice and become stronger. It seems like this is an obsession in my heart, to become stronger. Let Senju's name be heard again. Why does he think this way? Just when the enrollment of Spiritual Arts Academy in the Kingdom of Whirlpool is in full swing. The news that the Kingdom of Whirlpool invaded the Kingdom of Water and successfully captured the Kingdom of Water in less than a day was finally sent back by spies from various countries. The changes in the Kingdom of Water immediately caused an uproar. That's the land of water. Kurigakure of the 5 great ninja villages. Was it taken down just like that? Or a small country like the Whirlpool country? Although the incident involving the 7 ninja swordsmen last time made them realize that the Kingdom of Whirlpool still has some strength. But this is not the same as occupying the Kingdom of Water. The Water Kingdom has been one of the 5 great kingdoms since the end of the Sengoku era. Even if its military strength ranks at the bottom of the 5 major countries, not everyone can defeat it. Therefore, after the Kingdom of Whirlpool declared war on the Kingdom of Water, people severely laughed at the arrogance and ignorance of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. In the end, they were the ones who were ignorant. Everyone felt like they had been slapped in the face. Snapped. The Land of Thunder, Cloud Shinobi Village. Raikage's office. Third Raikage slapped himself, stared at the information on his desk, and said in disbelief, "Am I right?" The secretary said expressionlessly, "Master Raikage, this is the 9th time you have watched this." Hiss. Raikage took a breath and cursed. His grandma, the Kingdom of Water has just become the territory of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. He couldn't help but doubt life. Is Kurigakure too weak? Or is the Kingdom of Whirlpool too strong? No, if your country of Whirlpool had such strength, could it be destroyed by the joint force sent by Cloud Shinobi Village and Kurigakure? Something is wrong, something is wrong, something is wrong. Third generation Lei Yin paced back and forth in the office. He can't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. And what does the information say? Time and space ninjutsu. Can you ignore distance and number of people? With only a few thousand troops. The 3 captains look more powerful than Ying. Third Mizukage was suddenly killed instantly. Also possesses a ninja sword with various abilities. Can you unleash powerful ninjutsu through chanting? No need to seal. Doesn't this sound like a science fiction movie? And why does a country of Whirlpool have 3 characters above cage level? Third Raikage said gloomily. Investigation. The information about the country of Whirlpool must be investigated. The land of Earth, Iwagakure. Onoki said with a solemn expression. Why did this country of Whirlpool suddenly rise after being destroyed once? The land of Wind, Sunagakure. After receiving the information about the Kingdom of Whirlpool, the 3rd Kazekage and other high-level officials felt as if they had eaten shit. They were gloating before that Konoha's ally, the Uzumaki country, was destroyed. From then on, Konoha lost a right-hand man. As a result, the country of Whirlpool suddenly changed and suddenly joined the ranks of the 5 major countries. Although the ninja world has not recognized it yet, it is only a matter of time. The Kingdom of Water, one of the 5 great kingdoms, has become theirs. As the master of the Kingdom of Water, can he not be one of the 5 great kingdoms? Even if others don't recognize it, the other 4 major countries must let them recognize it. This country of water, which is as famous as them, has been beaten to the point of becoming a little brother. If this does not give the country of Whirlpool the status of one of the 5 major countries, wouldn't they, who are as famous as the country of water, be at a lower level than the country of Whirlpool? It's just that the Kingdom of Wind doesn't care about these trivial things now. What they are worried about now is the alliance between the Uzumaki country and Konoha. They are currently at war with Konoha. If the Whirlpool Kingdom continues to fulfill its alliance with Konoha, wouldn't it be possible to send troops to the Wind Kingdom? One Konoha is enough for them to eat. If there is another Whirlpool Kingdom, they don't need to fight, they can just surrender. At the same time, there was quite a stir in Konoha after receiving the news. The Hokage office held an emergency meeting to discuss matters related to the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a deep expression, "What do you think of the country of Whirlpool?" Chapter 34 Sarutobi. The country of Uzumaki is my closest relative and friend. What do you think? Sit back and watch. The elders of the clan, such as the Uchiha clan leader and the Hyuga clan leader, were present and had no intention of talking to them. The sudden rise of the Whirlpool Kingdom really surprised them. Especially after having experienced a country-destroying incident before. As a result, in less than half a month, it was as if the country had suddenly changed. From the surprise of defeating the 7 ninja swordsmen, to the ridicule of the Whirlpool Kingdom's high-profile declaration of war on the Water Kingdom, and now the victory over the Water Kingdom, the shock and consternation of the entire ninja world. This country is so damn legendary. This country of Whirlpool is still their former ally. Normally, I can tell that the country of Whirlpool is so awesome. How did you destroy the sub-state? Figured out. No longer keeping a low profile. Of course, everyone still has doubts in their hearts as to whether this Whirlpool Kingdom is the previous Whirlpool Kingdom. But since the current force in the Kingdom of Whirlpool regards itself as the Kingdom of Whirlpool, then everyone will regard it as the Kingdom of Whirlpool. As for what to think, they really sat and watched. Now Konoha is in a war period, and things on the front line of the Kingdom of Rain are already a headache. Who cares about the changes in the Kingdom of Whirlpool? Shimura Danzo had different ideas. After getting accurate information about the Kingdom of Whirlpool, he had already focused on the magical ninja swords and Muji ninjutsu of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. But the root members sent to the Kingdom of Whirlpool seemed to have disappeared into the sea, and were never heard from again. This made him understand that the country of Whirlpool was not a simple place. At the same time, it also made him even more greedy for the power of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Until the Kingdom of Whirlpool overthrew the Kingdom of Water, this greed became even more unstoppable. He cleared his throat and suggested, "The rise of the country of Whirlpool is indeed unexpected, but since they call themselves the country of Whirlpool, they are my strong allies of Konoha. We Konoha must give our allies to a certain extent help." His eyes were firm and seemed very sincere. Uchiha and other clan elders looked surprised. In Konoha, those who can become the head of a family are all human beings, let alone a clan leader who can participate in high-level meetings in Konoha. They knew very well about Shimura Danzo's urinary nature. What's happening now? Transitioned. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen, Udatane Kaharu and Mitokado Homura looked strange. Danzo. Taking the wrong medicine. At this moment, Shimura Danzo continued, the Kingdom of Whirlpool has just experienced a tragic annihilation event. Now that it has regained its independence, it is having a fierce war with the Kingdom of Water. Although it was a hard-fought victory, it is definitely impossible to completely control the Kingdom of Water. In order to avoid rebellion in the Kingdom of Water, Konoha has the obligation to manage the Kingdom of Water on behalf of its allies. Uchiha and others. Hey guys, they were like, when did this old dog Shimura Danzo change his gender? It turns out he was waiting here. He actually set his sights on the territory of the Kingdom of Water. It has to be said that Shimura Danzo has very sinister intentions. In the past, major ninja villages had conflicts, but no one could bite off a piece of flesh from anyone. It's not that no one has thought about it, but the conditions don't allow it. Although ninjas are highly mobile, they still march on foot. Once troops are sent deep into other countries, follow-up supplies are a very big reason. Therefore, no one has ever been able to establish a territory in other countries. It can be said that the Kingdom of Whirlpool has now set a precedent for the ninja world. Because they successfully occupied a country. Of course, others were not surprised after seeing in the intelligence that the time and space ninjutsu of the Kingdom of Whirlpool was capable of large-scale transfer. As long as any of them has such ninjutsu, they can easily transfer tens of thousands of ninjas and attack a ninja village easily. One can imagine how greedy other ninja villages were when they saw this time and space ninjutsu. But they were still calm anyway. After all, with the strength revealed by the Whirlpool Kingdom now, it is no longer something they can easily control. What's more, the geographical location of the Kingdom of Whirlpool is not that easy to attack. Otherwise, Cloud Shinobi Village would not have cooperated with Kurigakure when the Uzumaki country was destroyed. But now, Shimura Danzo has actually plotted against the Kingdom of Whirlpool. He wants to take a piece of meat from the Kingdom of Water in the name of helping his allies without spending a single soldier or vehicle. You are such a good ally. Everyone looked at Shimura Danzo with strange eyes. Shimura Danzo didn't pay attention and continued. Since we are allies, it is inevitable that you will help me and I will help you. Now that Konoha's frontline combat strength is tight, the Kingdom of Whirlpool should lend a helping hand to help Konoha tide over the difficulties. At this moment, Shimura Danzo saw it and said, since the intelligence records record that the Kingdom of Whirlpool is suspected of having mastered the technology of forging ninja swords with special abilities, why not let them support us with a batch of ninja swords like this? Of course. Shimura Danzo's eyelids drooped and he said solemnly, it would be better if they were willing to share the technology of forging ninja swords with us Konoha for free. Chief Uchiha and others looked at each other. Shimura Danzo really said it right. It is indeed darkness of Konoha. Is this helping the country of Vortex? Is this seeking support from the Kingdom of Whirlpool? This is clearly digging the roots of the country of Vortex. Just imagine if Shimura Danzo wanted them to hand over the family bloodline limits and secret techniques such as Sharingan and Byakugan one day. Hiss. How vicious. I disagree. Tsunade slammed the table and glared at Shimura Danzo. As a newly promoted Minister of Medical Affairs, she also gained the qualification to participate in Konoha's high-level meeting today. I just didn't expect to hear such insidious content. Do you consider the Kingdom of Whirlpool as an ally? That's obviously someone who was taken advantage of. Shimura Danzo closed his eyes and said, oh, does the director of the medical department have any opinions? Tsunade stared at Shimura Danzo and said forcefully, the country of Uzumaki is our ally of Konoha, not an unjust one who sacrifices everything for Konoha. Oh, I'm doing this all for Konoha. Enough. Tsunade wanted to say something else, but was interrupted by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen said, the country of Uzumaki is our ally of Konoha, and we cannot do anything to embarrass our allies. Seeing that Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke with some conscience, Tsunade sat back down again. Shimura Danzo snorted coldly. Sarutobi Hiruzen continued. However, the country of Uzumaki has just recovered and there are indeed not enough manpower. In the spirit of humanitarianism, we can send someone to ask if we need assistance from Konoha. And now Konoha's combat strength on the front line is indeed a bit tight. We can seek support from the Kingdom of Whirlpool for a group of elite ninja teams who can use that kind of ninja sword to relieve the pressure on Konoha. Sarutobi-sensei. Tsunade looked at him in disbelief. He really couldn't imagine that such words would come out of his mouth. Oh, last time the Kingdom of Whirlpool asked for help, Konoha ignored the alliance. This time, the Kingdom of Whirlpool was used, and the relationship between allies was restored. Tsunade's eyes were full of disappointment and he couldn't help but mocked. Sarutobi-Hiruzen explained. Don't worry Tsunade, Konoha will not forcefully ask for the knowledge and technology of allies, it just needs the support of some elite combat capabilities. Tsunade shook his head and said, forget it, I can't go on with this meeting at all, so that's it. With a bang, Tsunade slammed the door and left. Shimura Danzo chuckled. Sarutobi, you are truly worthy of it. As long as the Kingdom of Whirlpool agrees to assist, can those ninjas carrying ninja swords go back? Chapter 35 The Kingdom of Whirlpool. Get lost, don't get involved. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 419. 105. 140. Tsunade ne, are you okay? Konoha, Senju Mansion. Tsunade stared at the sky in trance, the gloomy clouds once again cast a haze on her heart. Hearing Uzumaki Kushina's concern, Tsunade forced a smile and said, it's okay. It's okay, how could it be okay? Teacher Sarutobi has changed. I don't know whether it was after becoming a Hokage or when I turned a blind eye to the Whirlpool country's request for help. In short, it became a bit strange. Konoha has also changed, and it is no longer as beautiful as it was when Grandpa and Second Grandpa were there. Senju has also changed and withered. Even her only brother died in the war. It's obviously only a few days away. She is a little tired. Half a month later, Konoha officially sent an application for friendly, mutual assistance between the two countries to the country of Whirlpool. This news immediately made Tsunade, who was at war with Konoha, feel nervous. But soon they relaxed, because the country of Whirlpool only said one word. Roll. The land of wind, Tsunade. Ha ha ha, okay, get out of here. Chio laughed, feeling that Konoha looked like a clown at this moment. Third Kazekage smiled and said, it seems that the Uzumaki Kingdom is not stupid. Konoha sat back and ignored the last time it was destroyed. I must have seen Konoha's face clearly through this incident. The land of thunder, Cloud Shinobi Village. Third Raikage smiled boldly. Ha ha ha, this old monkey Sarutobi is really interesting, does he treat others as fools? The land of fire, Konoha. Sarutobi-Hiruzen's face was slightly gloomy. Shimura Danzo was even more unhappy and said, humph, a bunch of treacherous guys. Uchiha Hyuga and others. It seems like Konoha should be the first to betray their trust, right? Sarutobi-Hiruzen said righteously. Forget it, since the Kingdom of Whirlpool does not care about the feelings of its allies, then we will also cancel all sponsorships to them. Quote. What kind of sponsorship does Konoha have for the country of Whirlpool? The Uchiha clan leader asked the Hyuga clan leader next to him with his eyes. The Hyuga clan leader rolled his eyes innocently, saying that he didn't know either. Okay, let's leave the Kingdom of Whirlpool aside for now. The most important thing now is the war with Tsunade on the battlefield of the Kingdom of Rain. In the country of Whirlpools, there is the spirit of the spirit. Uzumaki Chihiro smiled disdainfully. Sarutobi, this old guy really wants to eat shit. Although the Kingdom of Whirlpool and Konoha are allies. But in the face of the request for help from the Kingdom of Whirlpool, he sent the Kingdom of Whirlpool away without saying that there were no extra troops. Now that the Kingdom of Whirlpool is okay, he starts to lick his face to build relationships again. What a beautiful thought. Shaking his head, he put aside Konoha's matters for the time being. Half a month has passed since the Spiritual Arts Academy was unlocked. During this time he has been in touch with Zanpakuto, whom he received from the Spiritual Arts Academy. In other words, it should be called Sword Zen. Just half a month has passed and there is still no change. Of course, Uzumaki Chihiro is not impatient either. After all, Zanpakuto's first Shikai is not so easy to succeed. In addition, after half a month of fermentation of the incident, the reputation value on the system has exceeded the 500,000 mark. It's just that he hasn't figured out how to recruit better. Now that the Spiritual Arts Academy is on track, it is only a matter of time before it can produce arms. At present, Uzumaki Chihiro is not prepared to take several years of schooling to graduate like in Shinigami. As always, Uzumaki Chihiro let the teachers at Spiritual Arts Academy provide a cram-filled education. Let them master simple white hits and sword skills as soon as possible, and then fill them into various positions. As for Kido and Shunpo, who are more difficult to learn, let them learn at their respective positions. If they only master some simple white hits and sword skills, they can be on par with Genin who only knows 3-body technique. As for those with better qualifications, after they have learned some simple knowledge and left with Zonkwangwi, they will be led by various seat managers and deputy captains according to their potential. Let them learn some skills as soon as possible. By the way, help them be able to Shikai as soon as possible. As a result, the Shinigami army in the country of Whirlpool was quickly filled up. And now the ninja world is in a period of war, and ninjas die every day, and then they are attracted to Rukongai and fight for the Kingdom of Whirlpool again. Of course, some evil souls will be attracted to Hueco Mundo and become soul-sucking voids. Normally, Uzumaki Chihiro would occasionally pay attention to the situation in the land of water. How can I put it? It's quite miserable anyway. Because too many people die every day, the number of virtual beings in Hueco Mundo is also increasing. Those with low potential cannot beat those with high potential, so they can only run out of Hueco Mundo and search for food from the Water Kingdom. And those with high potential will run out to look for food when they are not full. At first, the appearance of Shu made the people of the Water Kingdom miserable. But due to the small number, the ninjas can still deal with them. But now the number is increasing, and the ninjas are a little overwhelmed. We can only maintain the status quo reluctantly. Almost every day, people die from exhaustion. So much so that Kurigakure is now known as the Blood Mist. Uzumaki Chihiro. Has he become Obito's stand-in? Although I was a little speechless, this title seemed to be correct. Of course, he also intends to control the number of virtual people going out to maintain a delicate balance between the virtual and the Water Kingdom. After all, he wants to take the path of sustainable development. This Kingdom of Water is increasing his reputation every day, but he can't just let it go like this. In addition to these, the main tasks of the system have also been updated. Stage 4 of the main mission. Acquire a total of 2 million reputation points and train a hero-level soldier. Reward. Unlock the building. Zai Palace. Close black lens bracket. He has a reputation of 2 million, and currently he is less than 1 million. This shouldn't be difficult, just do a few things. But cultivating a hero-level unit is difficult. A captain-level figure is not so easy to cultivate. Even if the Spiritual Arts Academy now has 3 captain-level potential characters, it is impossible to produce a hero-level unit right away. Potential is potential after all, if it cannot be realized, everything is in vain. There are 3 captain levels, let's see who can become the captain first. Just when Uzumaki Chihiro was about to continue cultivating his relationship with Zanpakuto, the system notification tone suddenly sounded. Ding! It has been detected that hosts Uzumaki Kingdom is on the right track, but some people as citizens of the Uzumaki Kingdom are still living in hardship. Please ask host to recall the Uzumaki clan who are still alive. Reward. Each time you recall one person, you will get a Shinigami job transfer scroll. After recalling all of them, the reward will be a shortened host Zanpakuto Shikai time. When I was really dozing off, the system sent me a pillow. And, quote. The Uzumaki bloodline is wandering outside. Indeed, as citizens of the Kingdom of Whirlpool, it is indeed time for them to come back. Rukia. Chapter 36 Uzumaki Chihiro. Rukia is so useful. Rukia. As soon as Uzumaki Chihiro's voice came out, Rukia Kuchiki, who had been guarding the door, responded. Lord Soul King, do you have any instructions? Uzumaki Chihiro said. Let the 8th team go to various places in the ninja world to search for the people of the former country of Whirlpool, that is, the Uzumaki clan with some red hair like me. Although according to the original work, Uzumaki Chihiro was also able to know the specific locations of several Uzumaki clan. But except for knowing that Uzumaki Kushina is in Konoha, others may not have gone to the location in his memory during this period. To be on the safe side, it would be better to let the 8th division go and investigate first. Rukia Kuchiki looked serious and said, Are you a member of Lord Spirit King? I understand. As soon as the words fell, Rukia Kuchiki was about to go to the 8th division to convey Uzumaki Chihiro's will. By the way, after you find their location, don't act rashly. Just ensure their safety. Uzumaki Chihiro cannot guarantee that everyone is willing to return to the country of Whirlpool. It still depends on personal wishes, but he does not force it. But Uzumaki Kushina must come back. The little guy who has been following him since he was a child, he still thinks strangely after not seeing him for so long. But Konoha probably won't let him go. After all, Kushina was trained as the next Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. However, there is no need to rush. Today's Whirlpool Kingdom is still not strong enough. Develop first, and when the time comes, if Konoha is not sensible enough, don't blame him for being rude. Of course, Uzumaki Chihiro is not a war madman. It has always been his personal principle not to offend others unless they offend me, and it is also his style of doing things with courtesy first and then attack with force. What's more, reputation points also require the contributions of these people. Yes, Rukia Kuchiki responded. Uzumaki Chihiro watched her leave. Rukia is so useful. Logically speaking, Rukia Kuchiki is the vice captain of the 13th division and has her own work content. But Rukia was really useful, so he kept letting Rukia serve as his secretary and bodyguard. Anyway, there is no hollow in the ninja world that needs to be purified by the 13th division, so let him use it first. After receiving instructions from Uzumaki Chihiro, the 8th division quickly took action and went to every corner of the ninja world to search for the blood of the Uzumaki clan. Of course, Uzumaki Kushina's side, Uzumaki Chihiro, didn't let them go. After all, the information is clear, so there is no need for them to make a trip. Moreover, the workload of this kind of searcher is very huge, although the boundary gate can be used to go to any place. But searching all locations is time-consuming and laborious. In addition, the Kingdom of Whirlpool currently does not have many manpower. Including the seat managers, the 8th division had less than 200 members. If we want to search the entire ninja world, it will probably take a lot of time. 3 months later, the situation in the ninja world has changed dramatically. First of all, the Kingdom of Whirlpool replaced the Kingdom of Water and became one of the 5 major countries. Of course, in people's minds, even if the Kingdom of Whirlpool defeated the Kingdom of Water and demonstrated its strength, it would never be able to surpass the Kingdom of Fire, the Kingdom of Thunder, and the Kingdom of Earth. After all, what they defeated was only the Kingdom of Water, which was at the bottom of the 5 major nations. Moreover, the land area is only the size of an island country. Even the predecessor of the Whirlpool country was just a country founded by a family and did not have a large population at all. Population, land, resources, military, economy. An important factor among the 5 major powers, the Kingdom of Whirlpool only shows its strong military strength. After all, there is a record of defeating the Kingdom of Water. No one will say anything about this. But the other 4 really have nothing to do with the Kingdom of Whirlpool. But Uzumaki Chihiro doesn't care about these at all. In other words, he has no intention of becoming one of the so-called 5 major countries. Even this name was only proposed by the other 4 major countries. In addition to the changes in the ninja world regarding the Kingdom of Whirlpool, there were also changes on the battlefield in the Kingdom of Rain. Konoha, Tsunade, and Iwagakure used the Land of Rain as a battlefield. The 3 major ninja villages were fighting each other, and the fight was in full swing. But this is a pain for the people of the Rain country. The war is raging and there is no peace everywhere. Some ninjas even massacred the people of the Land of Rain in order not to expose their whereabouts when performing missions. When you are hungry or thirsty, go grab it. When they were sleepy and tired, they killed people and occupied houses. The people of Yuji are in dire straits and complain a lot. Finally, the leader of Rain Shinobi Village, Hanzo of the Salamander, the demigod of the ninja world, couldn't stand it anymore. Directly fight against Konoha, Iwagakure and Tsunade at the same time. The situation in the Kingdom of Rain has become even more turbid. However, these have nothing to do with the Kingdom of Whirlpool. There are many disturbances outside, but the inside of the vortex is beautiful alone. It has been about 4 months since the first batch of students at Spiritual Arts Academy signed up. Under the cramming education, they successfully graduated from school and became members of the 13th Division. The first batch of Spiritual Arts Academy students provided more than 1,000 ordinary soldiers to the Kingdom of Whirlpool. There will be a second and third batch next. Among them, Uzumaki Chihiro is more concerned about Senju Nawaki, Oni Uzuki, Kagaya Mayan and Terumi Teru. These 4 people all have the potential to become captains. Oni Uzuki was assigned to the 2nd Division, the secret mobile team, and was personally taught by Omeda Marekio. It's Sui Feng's squad, and he was stabbed to death by Sui Feng before he was alive. It is said that Sui Feng personally named him. No one else has such bad taste. Kagaya Mayan was assigned to the 11th Division and was personally taught by Kusajishi Yakiru. The 11th Division is a combat team, which fits the character of the Teru Yoruichi clan. Terumi, Division 9 prison team, taught by Hisagi Shuhei himself. Senju Nawaki was assigned to the 3rd Division, the support team, and was personally taught by Kira Izuru. As far as he knows, among these people, Senju Nawaki has made the fastest progress. It is said that this kid sleeps with his sealed state in his arms every day, and can occasionally communicate with his sealed state. It is estimated that he will be able to Shikai once he learns his Zanpakudo's true name. All I can say is that he is worthy of being the grandson of Senju Hashirama. Although the potential of several is at the same level, the speed at which the potential is realized is different. In fact, Uzumaki Chihiro could vaguely hear Zanpakudo's voice. But the voice was so weak that he couldn't communicate. But he wasn't in a hurry. After all, there is still a mission to lay the groundwork. Moreover, the 8th team, the target of this mission, has almost searched for it. Even 2 of the Uzumaki clan who wandered in other small countries have been brought back. It's just that Uzumaki Chihiro has no impression of them. There are not many Uzumaki clan members left. The only ones worthy of his attention are Kushina from Konoha, Uzumaki Haruna from Kusakure village, and Uzumaki Nagato from Rain country. Among them, Uzumaki Haruna is suspected to be Uzumaki Karuna's mother, but she is still a little girl as old as Kushina. Maybe it was the long red hair that was brought back to Kusakure village by the knowledgeable Kusakure ninja and became a re-registered ninja of Kusugakure village. As for Uzumaki Nagato, he is now at the center of the Second Ninja War. Moreover, the Rinnegan has been loaded. Chapter 37 Danzo. Just give Uzumaki Kushina to me. Uzumaki Chihiro thought for a moment and said, let people spread the news, let's say that the Kingdom of Whirlpool will be rebuilt, and the Uzumaki family can come back at any time. Before taking the Uzumaki family back to the country, Uzumaki Chihiro decided to check their wishes. After all, half a year has passed, and the Uzumaki family who may have lived well in other countries may not necessarily want to come back. Of course, even if you don't want to come back, the Kingdom of Whirlpool must pay a certain degree of attention. Although life may be good now, it is only now. Like Uzumaki Kushina. Now her life in Konoha will definitely not be bad, after all, she is protected by Uzumaki Mito and the Senju clan. Coupled with Konoha's purpose, Kushina will definitely not be wronged in the slightest before that. But after becoming Nine-Tails Jinchuriki and Uzumaki Mito passes away, it won't necessarily be the same as it is now. The most powerful ninja village in the ninja world, Jinchuriki was almost abducted by Cloud Shinobi in the village. It's ridiculous to think about it. Moreover, Kushina is not necessarily willing to become the Jinchuriki of Nine-Tails. And Uzumaki Haruna from Kusagakure village. From the original plot in Uzumaki's memories, their mother and daughter were simply treated as moving humanoid blood bags. Uzumaki Haruna was even bitten to death. Thinking of these scenes, Uzumaki Chihiro's eyes became colder. The best result is to bring them all back to the Kingdom of Whirlpool. After receiving the order from Uzumaki Chihiro, Rukia Kuchiki, who temporarily served as the secretary of the Soul King, quickly arranged people to carry out the tasks ordered by the Soul King. A few days later, a news spread throughout the shinobi world. The Kingdom of Whirlpool wants to gather the Uzumaki clan who are living abroad and return home. The Land of Thunder, Cloud Shinobi Village. Raikage's office, Third Raikage's surprised voice came out. Calling the Uzumaki clan home. Are they the orphans of the Uzumaki clan in the ninja world? The secretary said calmly. Sir Raikage, when the Whirlpool country is destroyed, it is reasonable for a few to escape occasionally. Third Raikage thought about it and it made sense. After all, it is also a country, and the ninjas they sent at that time could not surround the entire Kingdom of Whirlpool. But in this case, Third Raikage narrowed his eyes and asked, how is the experiment with the tailed beast Jinchuriki? The secretary shook his head and said, it's still the same problem. The experimenter's physique is not suitable for being a Jinchuriki. Hey, Third Raikage smiled and said, then, won't it happen this time? The secretary's eyes widened slightly. You mean, the Uzumaki clan? Third Raikage said proudly. Ha ha ha, thanks to the actions of the Uzumaki country, otherwise I wouldn't have known that the blood of the Uzumaki family still exists in the ninja world. Let Anbu's people move and let me search carefully in other countries. The secretary hesitated and said, what about the Kingdom of Whirlpool? HMPH. Third generation Lei Yin snorted coldly, don't worry about them. You don't really think that beating Kurigakure can compare with my Cloud Shinobi Village, do you? I, the ninja of Cloud Shinobi Village, am not a bunch of cowards like Kurigakure. Third generation Lei Yin was high-spirited, and then said, by the way, how is the research done by the Boundary Department? Can it resist the invasion of time and space ninjutsu? Secretary, wasn't it very arrogant just now? Why did you suddenly become timid again? It's okay not to be a coward. Regardless of what Third Raikage said and did, it seemed that he really didn't take the country of Whirlpool seriously. If you really confront him head-on, he really won't take it seriously. After all, everyone knows about the military strength of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. I am afraid that he will launch a sudden attack on you and engage in guerrilla warfare. And if they can't do anything with that kind of time and space ninjutsu, then they are blind. So when the information about the time and space ninjutsu of the Kingdom of Whirlpool came out, Third Raikage asked the people of the barrier department to seize the barrier that could seal the space of the Kingdom of Thunder. The purpose is not to let the space in your home act like a sieve, allowing others to come in if they want. Not only the Kingdom of Thunder does this, but also several other great ninja villages do this. They all researched a barrier that could resist the time and space ninjutsu from opening holes in their homes. However, except for Cloud Shinobi Village and Konoha, the progress of Iwagakure and Sunagakure is not ideal. After all, Cloud Shinobi Village has the Tensen technique, and Konoha has the Flying Thunder God technique left behind by second Hokage. Both are time and space ninjutsu, and they can be used as a basis for research, so the progress is gratifying. Fire Nation, Konoha Village. After learning the news that the Uzumaki clan had been recalled from the country of Uzumaki, Shimura Danzo quickly came to the Hokage office. Seeing Sarutobi Hiruzen's little move of hiding the crystal ball, he felt disdainful. I really don't understand how second generation could choose such a person to be the Hokage. He is obviously the best Hokage person. If I had not hesitated at that time, if he had been the first one to stand up. Shimura Danzo clenched his fists and took a deep breath. In this world, there is never if. But from now on, this position can only be his. Sarutobi Hiruzen said calmly. Danzo, what's the matter? Sarutobi, you must have heard about the Uzumaki clan being recalled from the country of Uzumaki. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded, indicating that he understood. HMPH, these guys must be here for Uzumaki Kushina. Shimura Danzo snorted coldly at first, and then said, in order to prevent Uzumaki Kushina from having any other intentions, it is better to hand her over to Gen. As long as she is handed over to General, I will definitely train her into a qualified Jinchuriki, a qualified weapons of war. Shimura Danzo became more and more excited as he spoke, as if he had seen the day when he held 9 tails and successfully ascended to the position of Hokage. Finished. Sarutobi Hiruzen calmly flicked the ashes in his pipe without any change in his expression. Shimura Danzo calmed down as if a basin of cold water had been poured on him. Sarutobi, what do you mean, is my proposal wrong? Sarutobi Hiruzen said, isn't that right? It doesn't matter what I say. You should go and talk to Mito-sama. Shimura Danzo's breath hitched. He had just received the news and saw the opportunity to control Uzumaki Kushina, the future Jinchuriki, and rushed over without thinking. But I forgot about Uzumaki Mito. He was unwilling to say, what if Uzumaki Kushina? Nothing unexpected. Sarutobi Hiruzen interrupted him, his eyes flickered slightly, and said, I have arranged for people to block all information about the country of Whirlpool. Uzumaki Kushina will not know anything about the Uzumaki country. Even Mito-sama and Tsunade cannot reveal this news to Uzumaki Kushina. Although Uzumaki Mito is a member of the Uzumaki clan, she is now Shodai's wife. And Konoha, as Shodai's hard work, she will not make any moves that are detrimental to Konoha. This was the reason why she still sat idly by despite knowing that Konoha had rejected the Uzumaki clan's request for help. The same is true for Tsunade, although she is sad about what happened to the country of Uzumaki and hates Sarutobi Hiruzen and Konoha's indifference. But Konoha, after all, is her grandfather's Konoha, the Konoha created by her Senju clan. As long as the Senju clan is still in Konoha, it is impossible for her to do anything that harms Konoha's interests. Even if this is unfair to Uzumaki Kushina. But Uzumaki Mito is old and Konoha is in dire need of a new Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. No one could be more suitable than Uzumaki Kushina. Chapter 38 Recruiting Troops, Shihuin Yoruichi. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 537. 134. 179. What I'm worried about right now is that Uzumaki Kushina will be taken away by force from the Uzumaki country. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a puff of cigarette and looked a little sad. Now Konoha is in a period of war, and even his 3 disciples have gone to fight on the front lines of the Rain Kingdom battlefield. At this time, Konoha also retains some of its strength to deal with unexpected situations. But if the Kingdom of Whirlpool uses time and space ninjutsu forcefully, it may not be able to stop it before the corresponding sanctions have been taken shape. Shimura Danzo, who had lost control of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki candidate, also lost interest and said blearily, "Didn't you say that Mito-sama is here?" Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes suddenly lit up. Yes, Mito-sama is here too. Once Uzumaki Kushina was taken back by the Kingdom of Whirlpool, Konoha would have no suitable candidate for Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Master Uzumaki Mito will definitely not sit back and ignore this situation. Since he calls himself the country of Whirlpool, Uzumaki Mito always has to give face, right? No matter how bad it is, Uzumaki Mito's strength cannot be underestimated. The power of Nine-Tails Jinchuriki is no joke. A few days later. The country of grass, the hidden village of grass. Uzumaki Haruna accidentally heard the news about the country of Whirlpool, and was suddenly full of surprises. I was so busy that I ran to the grass ninja building, applied for resignation and went home. But when the application was submitted to Kaoyang, it was turned back. The talent of Kaoyang village is withering. There are no families with limited blood inheritance and no families with secret arts. After finally catching a person with a special bloodline, how could he put him back so easily? Taking the risk to bring Uzumaki Haruna back just to hand it over to the country of Uzumaki. Their Kaoyang village is not a charity. He also wants to wait for Uzumaki Haruna to grow up and give birth to an Uzumaki family for their Kusugakure village. Although the country of Uzumaki has been in the limelight recently, as long as they in Kusugakure village say nothing or do nothing, who would know that there are members of the Uzumaki clan hiding in their little ninja village? But it is a pity that the Kingdom of Whirlpool already knew this. Uzumaki Chihiro narrowed his eyes and said, "It seems that Kusugakure village is trying to fool around." He opened the system panel and stared at the more than 700,000 reputation points. Since the Kingdom of Whirlpool defeated the Kingdom of Water and shocked the ninja world half a year ago, the reputation value on the system panel has reached more than 700,000. The remaining scattered reputation points are all provided by the Kingdom of Water. After all, there are hollows there from time to time, and the Shinigami will also go to the Kingdom of Water to show their faces and increase their reputation for the purpose of purifying hollows. With more than 700,000 reputation points, it's time to explode another wave of troops. The Kingdom of Whirlpool has been silent for half a year, and some people may have forgotten their strength. If Kusugakure doesn't know what's interesting, Uzumaki Chihiro doesn't mind helping him recall memories. System: start recruiting troops. Uzumaki Chihiro first spent tens of thousands of reputation points to fill up the chair managers of each division. With the remaining 700,000 reputation points, he planned to recruit 2 heroic units. System: consume all reputation points and recruit 2 heroic units. A buzzing sound. The long-lost world crossing gate appeared out of thin air, and 2 figures stepped out. 1 male and 1 female respectively. The man is tall and handsome, with long black hair and light purple eyes. Wearing a standard Death Tyrant outfit, wearing white fingerless gauntlets, on his head and neck he wears the star clamp, hair accessory that only nobles have the right to wear, and the silver white windflower gauze, neck scarf. The woman has long purple hair, tied into a ponytail. He has golden eyes, brown skin, and wears a tight-fitting orange top that shows off his plump figure. None other than Byakuya Kuchiki and Shihuin Yoruichi. Byakuya Kuchiki, captain of the 6th division, has met the Soul King. My subordinate, Shihuin Yoruichi, has met the Soul King. Open black lens bracket Byakuya Kuchiki close black lens bracket. Strength. Captain level. Position. Captain of the 6th division. Open black lens bracket ability. Zanpakudo Senbon Sakura close black lens bracket. Comma. Open black lens bracket Shihuin Yoruichi close black lens bracket. Strength. Captain level. Position. Former captain of the 2nd division. Ability. Instant coax. 2 more powerful captains. Among them, Shihuin Yoruichi made Uzumaki Chihiro look twice. Of course, Uzumaki Chihiro isn't looking for her figure and eye-catching skin. It's about her ability. Unlike others, Shihuin Yoruichi's ability column does not display Zanpakudo, but Shunko. Does Shihuin Yoruichi have Zanpakudo? Of course there is. Every Shinigami has Zanpakudo, but since the system shows Shunko, that proves that Shihuin Yoruichi's Shunkaku is more powerful than her Zanpakudo. In Shinigami anime, Uzumaki Chihiro has indeed never seen Shihuin Yoruichi use Zanpakudo. Maybe that's the reason. Now that Byakuya Kuchiki and Shihoin Yoruichi have been recruited, Uzumaki Chihiro can certainly make the best use of them. He immediately assigned the task to the two of them, and also made them familiar with the world. Yoruichi, go to Kusakure village and deliver a letter to Kusakage. Be polite before fighting. If Kusagakure knows that the Uzumaki country knows that Uzumaki Haruna is in Kusagakure village, and will still stop Uzumaki Haruna, then don't blame the Uzumaki country for being unreasonable. Yes, Shihoin took over the task overnight and patted Byakuya Kuchiki on the shoulder before leaving. Brother Byakuya, sister, I will take the first step. The next moment, Shihoin Yoruichi's figure disappeared from Uzumaki Chihiro's residence. Byakuya Kuchiki was not affected by Shihoin Yoruichi and remained expressionless, quietly waiting for the arrangements of Lord Soul King. Byakuya, you go to the country of rain and bring a man named Uzumaki Nagato back to the country of Whirlpool. I will arrange for others to assist you. Byakuya Kuchiki responded. Yes, Lord Soul King. Soon, Byakuya Kuchiki also disappeared in front of Uzumaki Chihiro. The country of grass, the hidden village of grass. Grass Shadow Office. Huo Ying, who was working on the document, suddenly stopped moving. Among the many documents, an envelope with the logo of the Kingdom of Whirlpool suddenly appeared. Cao Ying's heart suddenly beat violently, he stood up suddenly, and looked around cautiously. Secretary Kusage asked in confusion, what happened, Lord Kusage? Kusage didn't see anything wrong, so he could only temporarily suppress the trembling in his heart and threw the envelope from the country of Whirlpool to the secretary. Look what this is. Secretary Kusage was a little confused at first, but when he saw the logo on the envelope, he exclaimed, this is, the country of whirlpools. She was shocked and said hurriedly, Master Kusage, I didn't find this letter when I was sorting out the documents. Hearing what the secretary said, Cao Ying felt a chill in his heart. In other words, this letter was put in while he was processing documents. Let Anbu check if there is anything abnormal inside and outside the building immediately. Yes. 10 minutes later, Anbu Hui reported, Master Kusage, my subordinates did not find anything unusual. Cao Ying breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed like the messenger should leave. He hesitated and finally opened the envelope. When he saw Uzumaki Haruna's words, his pupils shrank suddenly. Chapter 39 Terumi Mei. I want to become Shinigami and save the land of water. Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 82. 21. 27. Uzumaki Haruna. Cao Ying's eyes darkened. When was it exposed? No, or the Kingdom of Whirlpool already knew it from the beginning. Possessing the ability to deliver letters to him without anyone noticing. Searching for an Uzumaki Haruna doesn't seem to be too difficult, it's just a waste of time at most. Unless they imprison Uzumaki Haruna from the beginning and prevent her from leaving any trace of her life in Kusagakure village. But now it's too late to do anything. Secretary Sokage also saw the content of the letter and said unwillingly, Sir Sokage, are we going to send Uzumaki Haruna away like this? Cao Ying glanced at him and said coldly, what else? But, no buts. Secretary Cao Ying wanted to say something more, but was directly interrupted by Cao Ying. Kusage looked gloomy and said, since the country of Whirlpool has discovered it, then send Uzumaki Haruna back obediently. He took a deep breath and continued, Kurigakure can't withstand the attack of the country of Whirlpool. Do you think our small ninja village can compare with Kurigakure? Secretary Cao Ying opened her mouth and said in frustration, I understand. But, Cao Ying sneered and said, even if the country of Whirlpool wants to take it away for nothing, it can't be so easy. His eyes were gloomy and he said in a deep voice, isn't Cloud Shinobi village also searching for the Uzumaki clan in the past few days and leaking the news to them? Yes. After Secretary Cao Ying left, Cao Ying stood by the window of the office, looked at the village, and said softly, since I can't get it from Cao Ying village, then no one can ask for it. He dare not offend the now powerful Kingdom of Whirlpool, but the Kingdom of Thunder can. Sand. A slight movement sounded. Who? Cao Ying shouted and looked over with sharp eyes. Meow. Following the meowing sound, a black cat jumped from the side. Seeing this, Kusage breathed a sigh of relief. It turns out to be just a cat. The letter that appeared inexplicably before really frightened him a little. Not far away, the black cat, out of sight of the grass shadow, licked its front paws, its golden pupils revealing human thoughts. This Cao Yin village is really not that honest. The black cat suddenly opened his mouth and spit out human words. However, I am not an exclusive combatant. I should report the matters here to Lord Spirit King first. The black cat is none other than Shihoin Yoruichi who came to deliver the message. With that amazing Shunpo, no one can see her as long as she doesn't want to be discovered. Half a day later, the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Uzumaki Chihiro's address. A black cat jumped in through the window, and even Rukia Kuchiki, who was acting as a guard at the door, couldn't notice it. The black cat crawled into Uzumaki Chihiro's arms and gently licked his hand. Yoruichi, you're back so soon. Feeling the moisture on his fingertips, Uzumaki Chihiro put his hand on the black cat's head and gently stroked it. The black cat narrowed its eyes in comfort, turned its belly out again, and let Uzumaki Chihiro touch it. Then, under the gaze of Uzumaki Chihiro, he gradually transformed back into his human form, but still crawled in his arms like a cat. Suddenly, Shihoin Yoruichi's net worth skyrocketed here at Uzumaki Chihiro. A cat lady who can provide benefits to her owner is worth at least 1 million reputation points. While caressing Yoruichi, Uzumaki Chihiro listened to the news Yoruichi brought back. After learning Kusukage's plan, Uzumaki Chihiro narrowed his eyes slightly. Be polite before fighting. The etiquette has been delivered, and it is time to use troops later. He has already given Kusaikura a chance. Elfert Glanz, whom he had just recruited, had nothing to do all day long. This time, let him lead a group of hollows, and by the way, they can sneak around the Watermelon Mountain pufferfish ghosts. Over the past few months, the Watermelon Mountain pufferfish ghost has eaten and drank freely, and now it has reached the level of a Jukas. It's time for a change. Uzumaki Chihiro patted Yoruichi in his arms and ordered, I understand the situation. Kusagakure village will no longer exist soon. Go and bring Uzumaki Haruna back safely. Yes, Lord Spirit King. Shihuin Yoruichi stretched like a cat, showed his better side in front of Uzumaki Chihiro, then transformed into a black cat again and jumped out of the window. Well, it's really big. Uzumaki Chihiro murmured to himself. After the reply from Grass Country arrived, he looked at the contents of the letter and sneered. Then he opened Hueco Mundo and informed Ilfert Grants of his mission. Ilfert Glanz was obviously excited after receiving the order. I can finally do something for the king. Impatient, Ilfert Grants ordered a few Jillians and a group of ordinary hollows, then brought the Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost, then opened the Hueco Mundo and rushed towards the Kusakure village. Because Shu can't appear in Seireiyan, they can't use the boundary gate to teleport at will. We can only rush all the way from the Kingdom of Water to Seireiyan village. On the way, many people in the Kingdom of Water were frightened, thinking that Shu had appeared again. Fortunately, Shu ignored their intentions this time and they breathed a sigh of relief. The land of water. The little girl with long reddish-brown hair saw Shu floating in the sky and the villagers who were trembling with fear. Not only did he clench his white and tender fists, but his eyes were full of determination. These hateful bastards. One day, I will destroy you all. She thought about coming to the Kingdom of Water to eliminate these empty Shinigami. Although the adults said that these Shinigami were bad guys who invaded the Kingdom of Water, when Kion appeared, it was these Shinigami who destroyed them. Thinking of this, she became determined and vowed, I will definitely become a Shinigami and kill the hollows one by one. The land of grass. Since he brought a group of hollows with him, Ilfert Grantz's travel time was reduced to a certain extent. It took a full day to reach the country of grass. Grass Shadow Village, Grass Shadow Office. Cao Ying processed the documents and asked without raising his head, has the news been revealed? Yes, Master Kusukage. HMPH, that's good. If you want to bring Uzumaki Haruna, let's have a fight with Cloud Shinobi Village. The more fierce the fight, the better. It is best to hurt both sides, ha ha ha. Cao Ying laughed wildly in his heart, laughing and feeling a wave of sadness again. This is the helplessness of a small country. If their country of grass is powerful, why should they do this? Boom. Just when he was feeling sad, the office door was suddenly pushed open. The Kusage looked up in displeasure and saw a Kusage ninja panicking. No. It's not good, Kusage-sama. Cao Ying frowned. What's the matter? The village, above the village, there are so many. Cao Ying was shocked. Did the Kingdom of Whirlpool come over so quickly? Wait, didn't he agree with Uzumaki Haruna to go home? Why is the Kingdom of Whirlpool still coming? Didn't the Kingdom of Whirlpool receive the news? The grass ninja gasped. No, not the country of Whirlpool. The grass shadow breathed a sigh of relief. As long as it is not the country of Whirlpool, then it stared at the grass ninja and said displeased. It is not the country of Whirlpool, why are you panicking? Grass, Lord Grass Shadow. Secretary Cao Ying looked out the window with dull eyes, her lips trembling a little. The grass shadow followed her line of sight and turned to look out the window, and his eyes suddenly widened. What is this? Chapter 40 Ilfert. I will eventually defeat Shinigami. The grass shadow stood by the window, his eyes widened and his mouth slightly open. I was a little overwhelmed by the sudden changes in Kaoyan village. I saw outside the window that the sky above Kaoyan village was densely filled with strange monsters. The most eye-catching one is a fat, orange-haired monster. On top of the orange-haired monster, there is also a person with long pale golden hair and dark purple eyes. A man with an elegant and handsome appearance, wearing a horn-shaped mask on the left side of his head. As if he saw the grass shadow's gaze, the man grinned in his direction and said loudly, let the feast begin, brothers. The monsters all let out a weird cry and leaned down suddenly. The ninjas rushed towards the villagers who were stunned and at a loss. Soon people were dying and screaming. Only then did the people in Kaoyan village react. Enemy attack, enemy attack, ah, don't eat me, don't eat me. Monster, monster. The peaceful ninja village suddenly turned into a hell on earth. When Cao Ying saw this scene, his eyes were about to burst, he broke out of the window and roared, stop. But apparently, his anger was not ignored. Don't be so angry, brother. When my brothers are full, they will stop naturally. Ilfert Grant sounded comforting, but it obviously had no effect. Instead, it made Kusage even more angry. Grass shadow flow hair breaking palm. The grass shadow suddenly became angry, and like the swaying wind, it slapped Ilfert Grants with a palm. Success. Seeing that Ilfert Grants had no intention of evading, Cao Ying felt happy and at the same time laughed at his arrogance. Boom. A dull thump sounded, but Cao Ying's heart also sank. It felt like it was being hit on a steel plate, making his palms numb. Ilfert Glanz tilted his head and said, brother, are you massaging me? Hateful. The grass shadow became angry and hit Elfert Grants with countless palms. A little to the right. Yes, a little to the right. You have good skills. Are you interested in working at Hueco Mundo, brother? Hoo-hoo. The grass shadow was panting, staring blankly at Ilfert Grants, whose skin was not even broken, and a sense of frustration welled up in his heart. It's over. Ilfert Glands moved his body. Well, he felt normal. This strength can't even break through his steel skin. Just come down and let me serve you, brother. Crush it, Prince Kangjiao. Ilfert's body instantly grew larger, his upper body was covered with white armor, and his mask covered his head and turned into a bull's head shape. Cao Ying's pupils shrank suddenly, and before he could be shocked by his change, he suddenly felt a pain in his chest, and a pair of horns penetrated him. The majestic impact shattered all his internal organs and knocked him into the grass shadow building behind him. Boom! The building collapsed instantly, raising a cloud of dust. Ilfert retracted his horns and saw the dying grass figure lying under the collapsed building. He complained. So weak. Although Sokage is called a cage, as a cage from the Shaonan village, his strength is at best that of an elite Jonin. Facing Ilfert's unreasonable attack, of course he couldn't withstand it. Why? Cao Ying's eyes were distracted. He couldn't figure out how Kaoyan village was targeted by this group of creatures that didn't look like humans. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something, his pupils instantly dilated, and he trembled. The country of Whirlpool. Recently, the only force that has something to do with Kaoyan village and can destroy them is the Kingdom of Whirlpool. But he clearly agreed to the conditions of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Why? Could it be? Was he discovered? When Ilfert heard the words, Whirlpool country, his face became a little ugly, remembering the scene when he was surrounded by Shinigami when he was just recruited by the king. He said angrily. Those Shinigami from the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Sooner or later, Laozi will blow their heads off one by one. Although their king is the same person, it does not affect the hostile relationship between Kion and Shinigami. No, it's not. Cao Ying died with doubts and refused to close his eyes. Tisk, boring. Ilfert thought he was having fun, but the fun turned out to be so bad. Kaoyan village, somewhere in a corner. Shihuan Yoruichi, who put on the orange coat again, carried Uzumaki Haruna and quickly left the country of grass. Uzumaki Haruna said with a look of horror, Sister Yoruichi, what are those monsters? After a short period of getting along, Uzumaki Haruna also gained some understanding of this big sister who suddenly appeared in front of her. According to the eldest sister's introduction, she was from the Kingdom of Whirlpool and took her home. Although I have never seen anyone like Big Sister in the country of Whirlpool before, the Big Sister also carries a token of the country of Whirlpool. In addition, she also wanted to go home, so with the mentality of giving it a try, she agreed to leave Kusagakure village with this eldest sister named Shihuan Yoruichi. What's more, she doesn't like this place because once she exposed her special nature by saving a grass ninja, and the people here wanted to eat her. That feeling was very terrifying, but she couldn't escape, so she could only live in fear. Even if I sleep, I don't dare to sleep too hard. Rather than waiting for death in Kaoyan village, it's better to take a gamble. Shihuan Yoruichi said solemnly. Those are hollows. She also couldn't understand why these hollows suddenly appeared in Kaoyan village. Wait, her eyes suddenly widened. She does seem to know. I remember Lord Spirit King seemed to have said before that he would send someone back to deal with matters in Kaoyan village. But, this is not a human being. Isn't this true? Although she also understood that these Zus were also working under Lord Spirit King. But as a Shinigami, the hostility towards Hollow in his heart will not diminish one bit. Besides, it's enough for the Soul King to have them, Shinigami. They are just empty and unworthy of working for the Soul King. Shu, Uzumaki Haruna heard this name for the first time, and her eyes were full of curiosity. Shihuan Yoruichi said in a serious voice, Hollows are evil spirits that feed on human souls. Haruna must remember to stay away from them when he sees them in the future. Very scary. Uzumaki Haruna's eyes widened, she didn't expect there to be such a terrifying monster in the ninja world. Seeing this, Shihuan Yoruichi comforted him. Don't worry, since there are evil spirits that devour human souls, there will naturally be heroes who protect humans. Our Shinigami from Whirlpool country is like this. Okay, so awesome, Uzumaki Haruna said with eyes shining. Is Sister Yoruichi a hero? Shihuan Yoruichi thought about his intelligence flow and the village of Kusugakure was destroyed in one fell swoop. Yes, we Shinigami are the heroes who purify the void and protect mankind. Shihuan Yoruichi looked serious. It was Kion who destroyed Kusugakure village. What does it have to do with their Shinigami? Besides, this Kaoyan village dared to scheme against Lord Spirit King, so he deserved to die. Awesome. Then Haruna will become a Shinigami when she returns to Uzumaki country. Shihuan Yoruichi. This is embarrassing for her. Anyone alive wants to be a Shinigami. Forget it, let the Lord Spirit King have a headache. Let's go back to the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Uzumaki Haruna nodded vigorously. At this moment, a voice sounded from behind them. It turns out to be the Uzumaki clan. Hey, little B***ch, put down the Uzumaki clan in your hands. Chapter 41 Yoruichi. Your speed is not even as fast as that of a child. Little girl. Shihuan Yoruichi narrowed his eyes slightly. The target is Haruna. She turned her head and looked at the person who stopped them. A dark-skinned, somewhat stocky man, wearing a Cloud Shinobi Village forehead protector on his head. The ninjas of Cloud Shinobi Village. Shihu and Yoruichi also took the time to learn about the common sense of this world. I am also impressed by the forehead protector on his head. With her speed, she could have ignored it and just slipped away. But the man's tone made her unhappy. Uzumaki Haruna tugged at the corner of Shihu and Yoruichi's clothes and whispered, Sister Yoruichi, he is here for me. If you hand me over to him, you will not be in danger. Shihu and Yoruichi lowered his head, and Uzumaki Haruna forced a smile. She didn't know Shihu and Yoruichi's strength, but she didn't want to put her sister in danger because of her. It's just that it's a little further away from the country of Whirlpool. Shihu and Yoruichi noticed that she was depressed, pulled her cheek, and laughed. It seems that Haruna still doesn't know the power of your sister Yoruichi. Uzumaki Haruna's face was pulled back and forth and her speech was unclear. Hey, what are you whining about? Yorubi drew his sword impatiently. He had given this woman a chance. But the next second, his pupils shrank suddenly and he exclaimed, Afterimage. The figure in front of him disappeared little by little like an incomplete picture. Call. A strong wind came from behind. With a bang, a heavy blow hit his back. The heavy force made his knees weaken and he knelt straight on the ground. Oh, Shihu and Yoruichi was a little surprised and said, Your physical fitness is good. After receiving a blow from her, he just knelt on the ground. It seems that this guy is not a strong-willed person, and his tendon meat is still of some use. Crack, crackling. Yorubi, who was kneeling on the ground, suddenly made a strange noise, and thunder snakes swam around on his body. Shihu and Yoruichi frowned, immediately retracted his legs, and took Uzumaki Haruna away. Snapped. There was a crisp sound, and blue lightning suddenly shot out and landed in front of Shihu and Yoruichi. Tisk, you can run fast. Yorubi stood up, his expression no longer as calm as before. As a country that values physical strength, and he exercises with lightning style every day, he was actually suppressed by women using physical skills. Even if it was to the extent just now, he couldn't allow it. Lightning style chakra mode, crackling. Thunder and lightning bloomed on Yorubi's body, and thunder snakes wrapped around him. Do you think you're fast? Yorubi's face was ferocious, and with a flash of lightning, he appeared in front of Shihu and Yoruichi. Then, his hands condensed into two spherical thunderbolts, and they hit Shihu and Yoruichi heavily. Lightning style Sonda Mu Lu Do. In lightning style chakra mode, his body is very active and his speed is as fast as ultimate. He laughed and said, In this mode, no one can be faster than me. Careful, Uzumaki Haru Naomi in Shihu and Yoruichi's arms couldn't help but exclaimed when she saw the sudden thunder. Shihu and Yoruichi smiled slightly and tilted his head to the right. Crack, a heavy punch with thunder whizzed past her ear, and a strand of hair was slightly curled up by the lightning. Yorubi's eyes widened slightly, as if he didn't expect that she could dodge this blow. But he soon calmed down, believing that Shihu and Yoruichi's escape from the attack was just good luck. He swung his fist to the right again and said sternly, You won't be so lucky this time. Shihu and Yoruichi had no expression on his face, lowered his body slightly, and easily dodged again. The fist was empty again, and Yorubi was stunned for a moment. No, impossible. How could she dodge the attack in lightning-style chakra mode? Yorubi didn't believe it. Shake your fists like crazy. But they were easily dodged by Shihu and Yoruichi one by one. Your speed is worse than that of a child in my eyes. Yorubi became angry with embarrassment, and at the same time there was a hint of fear in his eyes. No, impossible. As if to vent his fear, two fists wrapped in lightning swung at the same time, hitting Shihu and Yoruichi's temple hard. Just when the fist was less than 1 centimeter away from Shihuan. Shihu and Yoruichi raised his leg and kicked him hard in the chin with a bang. Click. The crisp sound of bone cracking sounded. Yorubi banged hard to the end, opening his mouth to say something, but his broken jaw did not support his language system. Shihu and Yoruichi put his foot on his neck and crushed it lightly. Yorubi died immediately. Okay. Great. Uzumaki Haruna, who was still carried by Shihu and Yoruichi, witnessed an overwhelming victory. The eyes looking at Shihu and Yoruichi are filled with admiration. Shihu and Yoruichi closed her chin in a funny way and said, The bugs blocking the road have been trampled to death, let's continue going home. Uzumaki Haruna nodded hurriedly, and then said longingly, Sister Yoruichi, can I be as powerful as you? It should probably be possible. The land of rain. A country where it rains all year round. At this time, the country was mired in war, the people were in dire straits, and not even a complete building could be seen. In such a country, a noble man stood quietly on the muddy ground. Although it rained continuously in the land of rain at this time, the man's body was very clean and there was no sign of getting wet. If you look closely, just when the rain was about to fall on him, it seemed to have encountered a wall and flowed past him. He stood quietly, as if waiting for something. Occasionally, I would pass by a few shabby people. Seeing his noble appearance, I wanted to rob him and make a fortune. Then go abroad and live a prosperous and peaceful life. But often before he even gets close, his internal organs are shattered by his reiatsu. The bugs on the ground are really annoying. At this moment, a young man wearing a black death suit, short brown hair, and 2 red cheeks ran up from a distance. Captain Kuchiki, found. Byakuya Kuchiki immediately shunpo to Senju Nawaki and spit out 2 words coldly. Direction. Senju Nawaki was stunned for a moment, then subconsciously pointed in the direction he came from. With a whoosh, Byakuya Kuchiki disappeared. Senju Nawaki blinked, and then shouted, Wait for me, Captain Kuchiki. You are too fast, I can't keep up. Senju Nawaki could only use Shunpo intermittently, which he was not very skilled at, and chased after him. Chapter 42 Byakuya Kuchiki. Who did your injury? The battlefield of the Kingdom of Rain. The war between Konoha, led by Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade, and the Rain Shinobi, led by Hanzo of the Salamander, the leader of the Rain Country, has reached a fever pitch. Bang bang bang. The summoning beasts of Orochimaru and the other three were hit hard and returned to their respective summoning realms. Hanzo of the Salamander stood high above Sanshoyu, looking down at them. Orochimaru said with a solemn expression, "Even our cooperative attacks are ineffective." Jiraiya was injured and half kneeling on the ground, staring at Hanzo of the Salamander, gritted his teeth and said, "Is this the end?" Hanzo of the Salamander's eyes were cold and he said, "It's amazing that he can struggle so far at such a young age." There was unwillingness in Jiraiya's eyes. Hanzo of the Salamander continued, "This war will probably be Konoha's victory, so I will spare your lives." Jiraiya shouted, "You don't need to pity us. We can still fight." "Stop it, Jiraiya." Tsunade stops Jiraiya and continues to heal his wounds. Hanzo of the Salamander turned a blind eye to his words and continued, "You three are very strong. Not only have you survived to this day, but you can also fight against me. I, Hanzo, will call you Konoha Sannin from now on." Creak. Jiraiya gritted his teeth and did not feel the slightest honor for this title. Once he takes the title of Konoha Sannin, his companions will be followed by the shame of being defeated together by the three of them. But now that the situation is stronger than people, even if he doesn't want to accept it, he has to accept it. In fact, Hanzo of the Salamander wanted to kill these three geniuses to weaken Konoha's strength. This is done now just because Konoha is about to win this war. The three in front of him are Sarutobi Hiruzen's apprentices. If he doesn't want Konoha to go crazy and bite the Rain Country, he can't get things done. Giving them this title is just a helpless move. Tread, tread. Just when everyone thought the battle was over, a clear sound of footsteps suddenly sounded. The owner of the footsteps walked through the rain and soon came to their vicinity. For a moment, everyone looked at the person with vigilance. And the appearance that did not look like a ninja made everyone present stunned. An unexpected intruder, or a samurai, the long knife hanging on his waist made them guess. But even if they weren't ninjas, it didn't make them let down their guard. Orochimaru, on the other hand, stared at his noble outfit, thoughtfully. He didn't pay attention to the people present. Instead, he ignored them and walked directly behind them. Even Hanzo of the Salamander was surprised by this ordinary person who broke into the battlefield and wanted to see what he was going to do. Didn't he know the danger here? Finally, the man stopped not far away. He stood in front of a boy wearing a raincoat who fell to the ground. Uzumaki Nagato tried to struggle to get up, but because of the previous impact of the detonating talisman, his body was in great pain as if it was falling apart. Byakuya Kuchiki frowned, with red hair and round eyes, and confirmed, "Uzumaki Nagato." Uzumaki Nagato was stunned for a moment. He didn't understand why this person knew his name. After hesitating for a moment, he nodded. "My lord, do you have anything to do with Nagato?" Yahiko ignored the pain on his body and struggled to crawl over, fearing that this man would be harmful to Nagato. Seeing this, Konan wanted to crawl over, but he was powerless. Byakuya Kuchiki looked at Uzumaki Nagato's miserable appearance, frowned and said, "Captain of the 6th Division of Uzumaki Country, take the Uzumaki family home." Byakuya Kuchiki's voice was not loud, but the battle was over at this time, so his words were clearly transmitted to the ears of others. Really? Orochimaru suddenly realized, is this the Shinigami of Whirlpool Country? And he's actually the captain. Tsunade looked at Byakuya Kuchiki carefully and commented that he didn't look like a bad guy. Jiraiya said confusedly, "You all know. Idiot, the Konoha Intelligence Department has relevant records about their attire." Jiraiya scratched his head. Instead of looking at the dense information, he might as well go to the bathhouse to collect information. The country of Whirlpool. Hanzo of the Salamander narrowed his eyes slightly. "I also have some understanding of the recently rising country, the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Of course, it is because this country has achieved a feat that he has not achieved. He actually defeated a big country. It was this incident that gave him great confidence. What a mere Whirlpool country can do, why can't the Rain country with him as a demigod not be able to do it?" This failure was simply because he was too impulsive and started a war with 3 big countries at the same time, which made the country of Rain somewhat overwhelmed. When this time is over and the Kingdom of Rain has recuperated for a while, he will once again challenge the great powers. Next time, be sure to come one by one. Uzumaki Nagato's ears echoed with Byakuya Kuchiki's words of going home, and a trace of confusion flashed in his eyes. Can he still have a home? Byakuya Kuchiki doesn't care what's going on in his mind. He glanced at the injuries on Uzumaki Nagato's body, and his expression became colder. Although Lord Soul King did not say that he must take it back intact. But bringing back Uzumaki Nagato with this appearance, doesn't it mean that Byakuya Kuchiki is not doing his job well? Even if Lord Spiritual King wouldn't blame him, he still couldn't feel at ease. What's more, that woman will definitely laugh at him. This kind of thing is absolutely not allowed. Who did it? What? Uzumaki Nagato was stunned for a moment. Byakuya Kuchiki said coldly, "Who did your injury?" Uzumaki Nagato was also a little confused. He didn't know who did it. "I only remember that a kunai with a talisman attached to it fell in front of the 3 of them, and exploded with a bang." However, the experienced Orochimaru 3 saw the clues. Those burns should be the power of the detonating talisman. Subconsciously, the three of them looked at Hanzo of the Salamander in perfect agreement. Byakuya Kuchiki captured their movements almost instantly. He turned around and looked at the man standing above Sanjiu with cold eyes. Is that you? Hanzo of the Salamander narrowed his eyes slightly, made eye contact with Byakuya Kuchiki, and casually took out a detonating talisman. That's me. On the battlefield, it is normal for a few people to die in the aftermath of the battle. Hanzo of the Salamander doesn't care about the lives of others. Moreover, the way this junior looked at him was really annoying. He was a demigod in the ninja world. This look at ants. An unknown fire rose from my heart. With the target confirmed, Byakuya Kuchiki stopped talking nonsense. Zanpakuto pushed gently at his waist. Seeing that he was about to draw a sword with Hanzo of the Salamander, Jiraiya quickly dissuaded him. Calm down. Aren't you going to take that child home? Tsunade thought about the friendship between the Uzumaki Kingdom and reminded, you'd better not do stupid things. He is a guy who is called the demigod of the ninja world. Orochimaru just looked on coldly and made no unnecessary moves. After all, unlike Jiraiya, he is a good old man, and unlike Tsunade, he has no friendship with the country of Whirlpool. But they had the same idea in mind. Even if this person is the current captain of the Kingdom of Uzumaki, there is absolutely no way he can be Hanzo of the Salamander's opponent. Haven't you seen the three of them in such a miserable state? But Byakuya Kuchiki ignored their dissuasion and walked straight towards Hanzo of the Salamander. Jiraiya and Tsunade sighed. Orochimaru was very interested and wanted to see what kind of abilities the captain of the country of Whirlpool would reveal. He was also very curious about the strange ninja sword and Muji ninjutsu. As they watched, Byakuya Kuchiki took 1 step, 2 steps. The next moment, it suddenly turned into an afterimage. In an instant, the person was on top of Hanzo of the Salamander and slashed him with a sword. The terrifying speed made Orochimaru, Tsunade and Jiraiya's pupils shrink at the same time. Chapter 43 Byakuya Kuchiki. Are you calling yourself a demigod? What a quick body flicker technique. This thought flashed through the minds of the 3 Orochimaru people. I saw Byakuya Kuchiki slash Hanzo of the Salamander with his sword. Wow. Hanzo of the Salamander suddenly turned into a puddle of water, causing Byakuya Kuchiki to slash into the air. Jiraiya shouted. It's the water body. As expected of a demigod in the ninja world, when he sensed something was wrong, he immediately cast his water body. Orochimaru's snake-like vertical pupils stared closely at the movements of the 2 men, frantically gaining some combat experience. Byakuya Kuchiki's blow missed, but the pressure of the sword landed on Sanshoyu's head without sparing any effort. Just hearing a bang, the middle of Sanshoyu's head suddenly dented, and then hit the ground heavily. The Sansho fish howled in pain. Jiraiya's eyes widened and he exclaimed, what kind of swordsmanship is this? Why does it feel as violent as Tsunade's strange power? Tsunade's face darkened. Thinking of the identity of the injured person, he could only keep this incident in mind and settle the accounts later. Hanzo of the Salamander did not care about his summoning mon, but praised. Boy, your swordsmanship is pretty good, but compared with me, you are still far behind. Hanzo of the Salamander flashed, and body flicker technique was equally fast, holding a scythe and slashing straight at Byakuya Kuchiki. Swordsmanship. I slash. The poison-coated scythe penetrated Byakuya Kuchiki at high speed, but Hanzo of the Salamander's expression did not change. No hitting feel. Hanzo of the Salamander had a cold expression, and a white feathered fabric with a large 6 written on it hung on his scythe. Empty cicada. Byakuya Kuchiki learned the Shunko method from Shihuan Yoruichi when he was a child. He left his coat as a clone, making the enemy mistakenly think that he had hit the main body. If possible, he would not want to use this ability related to that woman at all. But it is undeniable that this trick is really useful. Body replacement technique. Orochimaru's eyes flashed with surprise. This body replacement technique seems to be different from the ordinary body replacement technique. Not only are there no traces of seals, it even looks a bit like a golden cicada shedding its shell. I wonder if his snake ninjutsu can develop a similar body replacement technique. After all, cicadas can shed their shells, and snakes can also shed their skins. Hanzo of the Salamander saw that the blow was not heavy, so he directly distanced himself. Sanshoyu, who was in pain, also recovered from the pain, and dived to Hanzo of the Salamander's footing, catching him. Hanzo of the Salamander tapped his foot lightly. Years of tacit understanding made Sanshoyu instantly understand his thoughts. He opened his mouth wide and thick purple mist spurted out. Careful. Tsunade, who was watching the battle from a distance, couldn't help but remind him. That's the poisonous gas in the body of the Sansho fish. Despite the warning, Tsunade thought that this person was probably in danger. The poison gas of Sanshoyu is not only wide-ranging and large in quantity, but also highly toxic. Even she, Konoha's medical master, has no way to do anything about it. Not to mention other people who don't understand medical science. Byakuya Kuchiki did not take Tsunade's reminder to heart. When the poisonous mist was about to sweep him away, Byakuya Kuchiki spat out a few words coldly. Bakudo number 81 splitting void. With a buzz, a transparent wall invisible to the naked eye suddenly rose in front of Byakuya Kuchiki, blocking the huge poisonous mist. No matter how large the amount of poisonous mist is, it cannot be overcome. What kind of ninjutsu is this? The defense range is so wide. Orochimaru's eyes widened slightly. This kind of defensive ninjutsu was the first time he had seen it except for the triple Rashomon recorded on the Konoha Forbidden Technique scroll. The novel ninjutsu made him slightly excited, and his desire for knowledge made him subconsciously lick the corners of his mouth. The Kingdom of Whirlpool is indeed a magical country. Tsunade was slightly distracted. The poison that made them so uncomfortable was so easily broken. Hey, did you see that he doesn't have any seals? Jiraiya shouted excitedly, pulling Orochimaru and Tsunade out of their respective states. Orochimaru complained. Idiot. Tsunade raised his forehead and said, Jiraiya, if you have time, really take a look at the information about various countries recorded in Konoha. Huh, isn't this surprising? Jiraiya scratched his head. Hanzo of the Salamander stared at the unscathed Byakuya Kuchiki and hummed, as expected of the Uzumaki country who defeated the water country. It is quite capable. It is much better than the three little guys from Konoha over there. Orochimaru. Tsunade. Jiraiya said angrily. Hey, you guys are beating yourselves, what are we doing if you step on us? Hanzo of the Salamander ignored them and said to himself, but if you only have this ability, then stay in the country of rain today. His eyes turned cold, and murderous intent surged in his heart. He wants to kill any genius in any country. As long as it can weaken the strength of other countries, it will enhance the strength of the Kingdom of Rain in disguise. He didn't dare to kill anyone in Konoha. But since he is not weaker than the Kingdom of Whirlpool, he will not give up this opportunity to weaken the strength of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Even if the Kingdom of Whirlpool and the Kingdom of Rain go to war, he has nothing to fear. It was just a win over a water country that was at the bottom. If the Kingdom of Rain hadn't started a war with the three major ninja villages at the same time, a big country would have been conquered long ago. Seeing that the poisonous gas of the Sancho fish can't do anything to Byakuya Kuchiki, Hanzo of the Salamander uses a body flicker technique, holding a sickle and starts a hand-to-hand fight with Byakuya Kuchiki. But Byakuya Kuchiki's swordsmanship is also top-notch, and simple hand-to-hand combat is of no use to him. Hanzo of the Salamander obviously also noticed this. As soon as he looked at you, the chain behind the side suddenly started to twist around Byakuya Kuchiki's knife. Wow, almost instantly, the chain wrapped around Byakuya Kuchiki's blade. Hanzo of the Salamander tugged hard, and Byakuya Kuchiki's hand holding the sword stretched forward involuntarily when the sword came up. Huh, young man, you still don't have enough experience. Broken. When Jiraiya saw Byakuya Kuchiki's knife being controlled, he was not only worried for him, but although he is not familiar with Byakuya Kuchiki, as long as he fights Hanzo of the Salamander, Jiraiya will feel that he is the righteous party. Right now, Zhengyi was trapped, but he was extremely anxious. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes and said, a demigod is a demigod after all. Although he said that, he could clearly remember that according to Konoha's intelligence, almost everyone in the Whirlpool Kingdom had a sword. And that knife still contains magical power. So far, this man has never used this ability. Byakuya Kuchiki's eyes were still cold, and his attitude of not taking anyone seriously made Hanzo of the Salamander snort. Byakuya Kuchiki said indifferently, listen to them, are you a demigod? Regarding this title, Hanzo of the Salamander was very proud and sneered. Why, now that things have happened, do you want to arouse the mercy of my strong man and spare your life? No, I thought that as a demigod, you might be very powerful, but until now, I haven't found anything worthy of praise. Hanzo of the Salamander was furious and shouted, you are arrogant. He yanked on the chain, trying to pull Byakuya Kuchiki over with force, and then stabbed his head with a scythe. But the knife wrapped in chains shattered with a bang. He pulled it away suddenly, stumbled back a few steps involuntarily, and looked forward subconsciously. Byakuya Kuchiki's lips moved slightly and he whispered softly, scatter, Senbon Sakura. Chapter 44 Byakuya Kuchiki, Demigod. People who seek fame and reputation. Scatter, Senbon Sakura. Byakuya Kuchiki's sword suddenly withered like a flower, and pink sakura petals fell around him. Flower. Tsunade whispered softly. Hanzo of the Salamander narrowed his eyes slightly. What happened? The blade disappeared. As soon as he finished speaking, Hanzo of the Salamander suddenly stiffened. PFF'd. Shoulders, chest, lower abdomen, back, wrists, thighs, calves. Almost at the same time, a large amount of blood spurted out, like an exploding blood flower. Hanzo of the Salamander's eyes widened and his pupils shrank into black dots. With a plop, his legs were weak and he fell to his knees. His lips twitched and he said in disbelief, what, when? How could he be just a captain from the Kingdom of Whirlpool? He is the demigod of the ninja world. Orochimaru, Tsunade and Jiraiya were stunned by this sudden turn of events. Tsunade opened his lips slightly and stammered, what happened? Orochimaru's heart beat violently, adrenaline suddenly surged, and his body couldn't stop shaking with excitement. So strong. It was so powerful that he didn't even realize what method he used to attack to suddenly injure Hanzo of the Salamander like this. But he knew that this must have a lot to do with the sudden disappearance of the knife. Jiraiya opened his eyes, a little dazed. Staring at Hanzo of the Salamander covered in blood, I suddenly felt an unreal feeling. In just a moment, the demigod of the ninja world, Hanzo of the Salamander, was defeated like this. Hanzo of the Salamander, who was so arrogant just now, beat the three of them and even spared their lives. Lost. Just when they were in shock and unable to extricate themselves. Hanzo of the Salamander's summoning beast Sancho senses its master's crisis. Suddenly, a huge mouth opened from the ground, swallowed Hanzo of the Salamander, whose life or death was unknown, in one mouthful, dived underground again, and escaped. Pieces of small sakura petal-like blades flew back to the handle from the surroundings, reassembled into the blade, and was sheathed by Byakuya Kuchiki. Are those sakura petals? Orochimaru narrowed his eyes slightly and noticed the changes in Byakuya Kuchiki's sword. Only then did I realize that the blade did not disappear, but turned into pieces of sakura flower petals. Could it be that these sakura flower petals were responsible for the changes in Hanzo of the salamander? Byakuya Kuchiki looked indifferently towards the direction in which Sanshoyu was escaping, and said indifferently, the demigod of the ninja world. He's just a person who was just trying to gain fame. The most uncomfortable thing for the demigods of the ninja world is the poisonous mist of Sanshoyu. Once the poison loses its effect, the so-called demigods will lose most of their strength. People who seek fame and reputation. This sentence reached the ears of the three Orochimaru people, and they felt very uncomfortable. If Hanzo of the salamander is a person seeking fame and reputation, then who are they? The Konoha Sannin who was beaten up by those who wanted to gain fame. It's not as good as Konoha Sannin being beaten by the demigods of the ninja world. It's over. I feel like I will be nailed to the pillar of shame of Konoha Sannin forever. Byakuya Kuchiki didn't care about other people's thoughts, walked up to Uzumaki Nagato again, and said calmly, the guy who hurt you has returned. Follow me back to the country of Whirlpool. Uzumaki Nagato looked blankly at the man with a paralyzed face in front of him, a little unreal. Having lived in the land of rain for half a year, he had also heard of the mythical name of Hanzo of the salamander. And today he did see the power of Hanzo of the salamander. I didn't look at the various gorgeous and powerful ninjutsu of the three Konoha ninjas before, but they were all easily mastered by Hanzo of the salamander. As a result, the man who suddenly appeared in front of him and said that he would take him back to the Kingdom of Whirlpool, just because Hanzo of the salamander hurt him, beat the mythical version of the powerful man until he was covered in blood, and his life and death were unknown. Are they really from their country of Whirlpool? Why doesn't he remember that their country of Whirlpool is so powerful? Could it be a human trafficker? But if you think about it carefully, such a powerful person wouldn't do such a derogatory thing, right? Uzumaki Nagato hesitated for a moment, but couldn't help but said, are you really from the Kingdom of Whirlpool? Byakuya Kuchiki glanced at him without saying a word. He just held his hand for a moment, and a giant golden door appeared out of thin air. When Orochimaru and Tsunade saw this door, they couldn't help but look at each other. Tsunade said seriously, this should be the time and space ninjutsu, right? Orochimaru nodded, his eyes fixed on the structure of the door, as if he wanted to explore its principle. Only Jiraiya was confused, what time and space ninjutsu? Byakuya Kuchiki gently opened the door and said calmly, let's go. Uzumaki Nagato was stunned for a moment, then said solemnly, go, where are you going? Byakuya Kuchiki rarely explained, passing through this gate is the land of Whirlpool. Uzumaki Nagato's eyes widened, how amazing. But Uzumaki Nagato didn't move. Byakuya Kuchiki saw his confused look and said calmly, is there anything else? Uzumaki Nagato lowered his head and said, can I bring my companion with me? Hearing this, Byakuya Kuchiki glanced at the orange-haired boy and the light blue-purple-haired girl who were already struggling to stand up. My mission is just to take you back. The implication is that his mission does not include these two people. Yahiko and Konan smiled and persuaded. Nagato, don't worry about us. Since someone has come to pick you up from your home, go back quickly. We will live well without Nagato. How can it be? Uzumaki Nagato retorted in his mind. There is a war here every day, and people die every day. Maybe one day Yahiko and Konan will. His eyes became firm and he said, sorry, I can't go back now. Nagato, Yahiko and Konan were moved, but also a little anxious. People at the bottom know best what the country of rain is like. If they stay here, they will be killed by passing ninjas one day, just like their parents. Obviously Nagato has a chance to get out of this quagmire, so he can't give up. Byakuya Kuchiki remained expressionless, but sighed inwardly. Children are really troublesome. In that case, let's come together. Uzumaki Nagato raised his head suddenly, his purple-rimmed eyes suddenly lit up, and he was even a little worried that he had heard wrongly. When I was about to ask, I found that the man had already walked through the golden door. Without any time to think, Uzumaki Nagato hurriedly said, quick, Yahiko Konan, let's go in together. Yahiko and Konan were pulled in by Uzumaki Nagato in confusion. Just when the gate was about to close, a voice came from far and near. Wait for me, Captain Kuchiki, I haven't entered the door yet. Chapter 45 Tsunade, could it be Nawaki? Interesting for you. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 495, 124, 165. Senju Nawaki used Shunpo and ran all the way, panting. Just when he finally caught up with Captain Kuchiki, he suddenly found that Captain Kuchiki was already preparing to go back. Senju Nawaki was stunned. He continued to perform the crooked Shunpo regardless of the physical exertion, and shouted loudly. Wait for me, Captain Kuchiki, I haven't entered the door yet. The movement of closing the boundary gate stopped. Rope. Nawaki's voice. Tsunade looked up suddenly and happened to see a familiar figure entering the boundary door. Tsunade couldn't help shouting. Nawaki. Hearing his name, Senju Nawaki was about to turn around, but the boundary door slammed shut. Senju Nawaki scratched his head and said, did someone call me just now? You are too slow. Ahaha. Yes, I'm sorry, Captain Kuchiki. As soon as Byakuya Kuchiki interrupted, Senju Nawaki forgot about what happened before. On the other side of the portal, Tsunade could vaguely see the figure turning around, and then use the body flicker technique to quickly arrive in front of the portal. Wait, don't close it yet. Tsunade pushed the door hard, even using strange strength, but the door remained motionless, and eventually disappeared into the land of rain. She knelt on the ground in despair, her eyes blank. Jiraiya and Orochimaru walked up to her with confused expressions. Jiraiya said carelessly, "What are you crazy about, Tsunade? Do you still want him to give us a ride?" To Jiraiya's surprise, when he spoke like this, Tsunade didn't beat him. Something's wrong. Something is very wrong, Tsunade said absent-mindedly. I just seem to hear Nawaki's voice. Nawaki, isn't that already? As he spoke, Jiraiya suddenly closed his mouth and looked at Tsunade worriedly. Orochimaru's heart suddenly sank. After all, Tsunade handed Nawaki to him because he trusted him, but in the end, human life is indeed fragile. Seeing that both of his friends fell silent, Jiraiya couldn't help but bite the bullet and said, well, people cannot be resurrected after death. Tsunade, you must have heard wrong just now, right? Did you hear that wrong? Tsunade's eyes were a little distracted. Maybe, but, when she called Nawaki's name, why did that person turn around? But if so, then she is obviously here, how could Nawaki not come to recognize her? What's more, she was very sure that Nawaki was dead. She held the necklace on her chest. This necklace is the proof of Nawaki's death. Even though the body was scorched, the necklace she personally put on for Nawaki before going to the battlefield never left Nawaki's neck. Tsunade stood up unsteadily and forced a smile. Maybe I really heard wrong. Nawaki is dead, how can he reappear? But the voice and the familiar figure still left a deep impression on her. Just bury him in my heart for the time being. The country of Whirlpool. Tsunade's eyes twinkled slightly. The country of Whirlpool, Seireiyan. The three little ones, Uzumaki Nagato, who followed Byakuya Kuchiki into the realm gate, stared at the scene in front of them with wide eyes. Uzumaki Nagato even wiped his eyes hard in disbelief. Are you sure you came to the right place? The country of Whirlpool in his impression did not have so many gorgeous buildings and scenery. Conan opened his small mouth and murmured, good, so prosperous. Yahiko patted Nagato's shoulder hard and said excitedly, Nagato, it turns out your home is so beautiful. Why have I never heard of you talking about it? Because it was his first time seeing it too. Uzumaki Nagato whispered, is this really the country of Whirlpool? Senju Nawaki puffed up his chest and said proudly, of course, this is the land of Whirlpool, the most beautiful place in the ninja world. Seeing that Uzumaki Nagato and others looked like they had never seen the world, he couldn't help but smile and said, Captain Kuchiki has returned to duty. Come on, I will take you around the Seireiyan, and then take you to where you live. Oh, along the way, the three people were curious about everything they saw. But the main ones asking questions were Yahiko, while Uzumaki Nagato and Conan listened quietly. Yahiko has a familiar personality and quickly became close to Senju Nawaki. Brother Nawaki, what's over there? Senju Nawaki looked in the direction Yahiko pointed and explained. Oh, that's the Spiritual Arts Academy. Anyone who graduates from there can become a Shinigami. Shinigami. The three people were a little confused. Yahiko asked. Brother Nawaki, what is Shinigami? Senju Nawaki thought for a moment and said, he is someone like Captain Kuchiki. By the way, I am also a Shinigami. Senju Nawaki straightened his Zanpakuto, looking proud. Amazing. The three people were very supportive, which made Senju Nawaki very comfortable. So what's the difference between a Shinigami and a ninja? From Yahiko's point of view, they are all powerful people, so why are they called different people? Senju Nawaki said seriously, of course it's different. He remembered what the teachers at Spiritual Arts Academy had mentioned about the Shinigami's responsibilities. Ninjas are just tools used by ninja villages for war and economic development. We Shinigami are different. In addition to protecting the Uzumaki country, we also shoulder the mission of maintaining the ninja world. Protecting the ninja world. Yahiko and the other three looked confused. Senju Nawaki smiled mysteriously and said, let me tell you secretly, under the glamorous appearance of the ninja world, there are still evil spirits that feed on human souls. Evil spirit. Yahiko and the three of them exclaimed in unison. Conan touched his arm and said in panic, really, is there really an evil spirit? Senju Nawaki nodded heavily and said, of course, but we call these evil spirits hollows. Then what should I do if I encounter this hollow? Conan couldn't help but ask, remembering the ghost stories her mother told her when she was a child. Could it be that what mom said was actually true? Senju Nawaki chuckled and said, at this time, of course we need our Shinigami to appear. Purify evil spirits and protect humans. How cool. Yahiko's eyes lit up and he said excitedly, I also want to become a Shinigami and maintain the peace of the ninja world. Uzumaki Chihiro, the senior officer of the 13th Division headquarters, stood by the window and looked out. The black cat transformed by Yoruichi lay quietly in his arms, enjoying his touch. Behind him stood Byakuya Kuchiki, who came to return his life. Uzumaki Chihiro smiled slightly and said, it seems that Nawaki gets along well with them. He didn't expect that he would ask Byakuya Kuchiki to bring Uzumaki Nagato back, but he would also kidnap Yahiko and Conan back. Doesn't this dig out the roots of the Akatsuki organization? I wonder if the old Madara would be so angry that she would pull out the oxygen tube after getting Nagato and being brought back from the Kingdom of Whirlpool. Chapter 46 Sarutobi. What a domineering Uzumaki country. The 7 most famous plus-size models in the world. More. 633. 158. 211. The land of Earth. It's still that dark cave. A white strange creature suddenly ran in, shouting. It's not good. Madara-sama. It's not good. Madara-sama. Uchiha Madara, who was intubated from behind, was so dizzy from the noise that she had no choice but to wake up from her deep sleep. Uchiha Madara resisted the urge to slap it to death, frowned and said, if you fart, let it go. The white creature was stunned for a moment, then pushed its butt vigorously, and finally said awkwardly, no, I'm sorry, Madara-sama, I don't have this function, there is really nothing I can do. Boom. Uchiha Madara, expressionless, controlled Geto statue and beat it to pieces. Soon, an identical white creature walked in. Madara-sama, Madara-sama, there is something wrong with the thing you brought our attention to. Uchiha Madara frowned and said, who has the problem? Nagato, or the newly born Uzumaki country? Everything has gone wrong, hey. Uchiha Madara. He suddenly felt tired. Couldn't any of these Ju speak normally? He ignored Guo-Ju's strange behavior and said in a deep voice, what's the problem? That person from the country of Uzumaki sent someone to take Uzumaki Nagato back to the country of Uzumaki. Uchiha Madara's eyes narrowed. Uzumaki Nagato has some important tasks in his plan, so he can't be careless. But now there is contact with the country of Whirlpool that was previously observed through third Mizukage. Why did they suddenly take Nagato back? What did you find? Did you find out the reason why Nagato was taken back? Zetsu said while making funny moves. Ah, this country of Whirlpool seems to be recalling the Uzumaki clan who were lost due to the previous destruction of the country. Uchiha Madara thought thoughtfully, it seems that this new country of Whirlpool is inseparable from the Uzumaki clan. Otherwise, he wouldn't care so much about the blood of the Uzumaki clan. That's good. With this information, at least there is no need to worry about Nagato's life being in danger. However, it will be a bit difficult to find a way to get Nagato to resurrect him later. But there was nothing he could do with his current body. Being able to rely on Geto statue to maintain basic body functions is already very good. Unfortunately, no one who can carry out his plan has appeared yet. Now that he's awake, Uchiha Madara is ready to learn more about the current situation in the ninja world. When he heard from Zetsu about the emergence of Q from the country of grass, he couldn't help but frown. Void. A monster with a strange appearance. Gee, when did such strange things appear in the ninja world? But, he looked at Ju and suddenly felt that it wasn't very strange. After all, even creatures like Ju exist, so what else is impossible? Are people from the country of Whirlpool called Shinigami? Another unfamiliar term. However, during the Sengoku period, I did hear that Shinigami masks were enshrined in the Uzumaki clan's ancestral hall. It seems that this group of Shinigami should be related to the masks enshrined by the Uzumaki clan. Judging from the tone of Kion's leader, it seems like Kion and Shinigami don't want to deal with each other. Uchiha Madara became drowsy again. After a good sleep, why do you feel that the ninja world has changed so much? Forget it, as long as it doesn't affect his plan, don't worry about it. After sending away the queen, Uchiha Madara fell into a deep sleep again. The land of thunder, Cloud Shinobi Village. There was a bang in Raikage's office, followed by the sound of a table collapsing. Third Raikage said angrily, Yorubi, were you killed? The secretary lowered his head and said, yes. Have you found out who did it? The secretary shook his head and added, although I don't know the specific murderer, after Yoruba was discovered, the Kusugakure village not far away was also destroyed. And we learned from the survivors that the ones who destroyed Kauyan village seemed to be a group of monsters named Hollows. Third Raikage's eyes narrowed. Hollow. Monster. When was this kind of creature still hidden in the ninja world? Could it be that these Hollows were the ones who killed Yorubi? Forget it. Never mind. This matter must be related to the Kingdom of Whirlpool anyway. Third Raikage looked determined. When Kusugakure sent them a message before, in addition to stating that they wanted to use Uzumaki Haruna to establish diplomatic relations with the Kingdom of Thunder, they also clearly informed them that Uzumaki Haruna was being targeted by the country of Uzumaki. Now that Kusugakure village has been destroyed and Uzumaki Haruna is missing, no matter how you look at it, it is inseparable from the country of Uzumaki. In other words, that Uzumaki Haruna might have been taken back to the country of Whirlpool. Third Raikage paces the office girl. Let's put aside Yorubi's matters for now, Jinchuriki's matters are the most important now. But the best experimenter was taken away by the Kingdom of Whirlpool, and the Jinchuriki plan was about to abort. No, absolutely not. Third Raikage's face darkened and he said, issue a mission to let our people sneak into the country of Whirlpool and see if we can find an opportunity to kidnap 2 people from the Uzumaki clan. Yes, Uzumaki Chihiro, who is far away in the country of Whirlpool, would never have imagined that the moves used by Cloud Shinobi village against Konoha in the original book would be used on the country of Whirlpool this time. However, the country of Whirlpool is not a silent Konoha. A few days later, information on the Rain Country battlefield was also sent to Sarutobi Hiruzen. The Shinigami of Whirlpool country are out again. Sarutobi Hiruzen is a little speechless, why is there a country of Whirlpools everywhere? But after seeing that Shinigami from the country of Whirlpool went to the country of Rain with the purpose of bringing back a member of the Uzumaki clan, it suddenly dawned on him. But, you just picked up people, why did you get into a fight with Hanzo of the Salamander? The reason turned out to be that when Hanzo of the Salamander was fighting with his 3 disciples, Hanzo of the Salamander flew a kunai with a detonating talisman near the Uzumaki tribe and was harmed. What a domineering Whirlpool country. What shocked him even more was that Hanzo of the Salamander, who had hung up 3 of his disciples and beat them, was actually beaten to death by the captain of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. The captain of the 6th Division is actually a new captain. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked heavy and couldn't help but take a long puff of cigarette. Staring at the information in his hand, he couldn't help but think, is it possible that the captain of the 13th Division of the Kingdom of Whirlpool really has Kage level or even higher strength? Can a country, and it was originally a small country, really produce so many talented people? Even in Konoha, which has fertile land and abundant talents, there has never been a period when 13 shadows appeared at the same time. Temporarily suppress the fear in my heart. Although the changes in the Kingdom of Whirlpool made him very uneasy, Konoha's attention now still needs to be on the Kingdom of Rain. Speaking of which, the captain of the 6th Division of Whirlpool Country indirectly helped Konoha. Hanzo of the Salamander's life and death are unknown, and Konoha has one less constraint in the Rain Country. Iwagakure also saw that the situation was not good, and withdrew from the war early. He did not want to continue to waste manpower and materials, and left the battlefield to Konoha and Tsunade. Without the interference of the two forces, Konoha can also open its arms and fight Tsunade. Solve the war with Tsunade as soon as possible, and then start discussing the position of the country of Whirlpool for Konoha. Tsukumo is almost done. Now that the war with the Land of Rain is over, it's time for Tsukumo to go to the Tsunade battlefield. Chapter 47 Recruiting Hawako Mundo Camp Troops, Arankar. Just a few days after Konoha learned about the situation on the battlefield in the Land of Rain, things about the Kingdom of Rain have gradually spread to the ears of other countries. The first reaction of most ninjas was disbelief. That's the demigod of the ninja world. Ninjas who can be called gods are the most powerful existences in the minds of ninjas. As a result, he was killed by the captain of the Kingdom of Whirlpool who suddenly appeared. It was as if their long-awaited idol suddenly collapsed, leaving them in a daze. But there are also some crazy fans who insist that this is a rumor. It's a slander against the demigods of the ninja world. But when they didn't see Hanzo of the Salamander come out to refute the rumors, their unswerving hearts gradually became hesitant. Could it be? Is this true? The top leaders of the major ninja villages had different reactions when they heard the news. The Land of Earth, Iwagakure, Onoki, the two-person scales, had no feelings at all about Hanzo of the Salamander's defeat. He hated this person from the bottom of his heart. As a person who has personally witnessed the era of the ninja god Senju Hashirama and the ninja Shira Uchiha Madara. After learning that Hanzo of the Salamander was suddenly named a demigod in the Jonin world, he even shamelessly used this name to himself. He understood that this guy was a clown. It doesn't matter if you die, at least no one will tarnish the name of God in the future. The Land of Wind, Tsunade. Shio snorted and said, this old poisonous creature has finally encountered a problem. She has always ignored the so-called demigods of the ninja world. Especially not long ago, the two of them had a fight. All I can say is, he doesn't deserve it. Not long after Hanzo of the Salamander's poison was used, Shio cracked it. Hanzo of the Salamander, who lost the advantage of poison, could only escape in despair. I can only rely on the poison of Sanshoyu to bully the juniors. The Land of Thunder, Cloud Shinobi Village. Third Rakage laughed. This parallel import has finally been slaughtered. It's time. Demigod, I don't know where the leader of the Kingdom of Rain came from with such a big face. Don't look at the huge ninja world today. Who dares to call himself a god? The god of ninja, Senju Hashirama, single-handedly suppresses the ninja world, is no joke. For a time, the unknown life and death of Hanzo of the Salamander did not seem to cause any ripples among the senior officials of the major ninja villages. They were not even more concerned about the fact that a new captain appeared in the Kingdom of Whirlpool. At the same time, the destruction of the Land of Grass finally spread to the major ninja villages. A monster named Void also spread from the people who survived in the Kingdom of Grass. It brought a little shock to the ninja world. Why is this ninja world getting weirder and weirder? When did there become so many weird things? This question is lingering in the major ninja villages, and they are puzzled by the solution. But they just sighed. With the size of the Kingdom of Grass, even if it is destroyed, it will not affect the 5 major countries. There are only some small countries where people feel insecure, fearing that one day this monster named Shu will come to their country and sneak around. The country of Whirlpool, Seireiyan. Uzumaki Chihiro read through the changes in the shinobi world in recent days presented by Team 8. I also want to see the fall of the Kingdom of Grass and the changes that Hexu will bring to the ninja world. In general, for the other 4 major ninja villages, although they have been aware of the emergence of monsters like Shu. But out of confidence in the strength of his ninja village, he didn't pay much attention to the Hollow's destruction of the grass country other than sighing. After all, the cage of Kusakure village is just an elite jonin, and a country of this size cannot yet enter their eyes. On the contrary, some small countries are very concerned about this virtual monster. Because of the lessons learned from the country of grass, everyone in other countries is in danger, fearing that one day they will become like the country of grass. Uzumaki Chihiro thought for a moment. From now on, I can let Kion go for a walk in the ninja world more often. It can bring a little virtual shock to other countries, and it can also increase your reputation. And aren't the Shinigami just sitting around doing nothing every day, gearing up to purify the void? Then he will give the Shinigami this chance. Let them bring hope to the country that is in jeopardy. However, Uzumaki Chihiro did not let the Shinigami take action in vain. If you want Shinigami to save your country, what will you do if you don't do anything? No matter it is money, resources, population, even if it is becoming a subsidiary country of the Kingdom of Whirlpool. As long as you can afford it and dare to do it, Shinigami will bring hope to your country. In this way, not only do you get what the Kingdom of Whirlpool needs, but you can also gain 2 waves of reputation points. A wave of virtual brushes, and a wave of Shinigami purification. Isn't this a complete win-win? Well, Uzumaki Chihiro wins twice. After planning the future direction, Uzumaki Chihiro looked at the reputation value on the system panel that had risen again. It has been a long time since the incident in the Kingdom of Water, and the reputation value on the system panel has been in addition to the reputation value increasingly produced by the Kingdom of Water. The reputation points offered elsewhere have stagnated. However, this time when he brought the Uzumaki clan back home, the destruction of the Kingdom of Grass and Byakuya Kuchiki's incident in the Kingdom of Rain gave him a lot of reputation. Of course, it is still far from the time in Water Kingdom. But it still reached as much as 210,000. Among them, the destruction of the Kingdom of Grass and the panic among other small countries contributed 80,000. Hanzo of the Salamander was beaten to death by Byakuya Kuchiki, which caused a sensation among ordinary people in the ninja world. At the same time, Byakuya Kuchiki entered the field of vision of major ninja villages and contributed 130,000. Including the various reputation points before, now there are almost 250,000 in total. Since Shu is going to go out and cause trouble, let's recruit a few Arankars next. Just relying on one effort grants is a bit unable to hold up the scene. System, switch the card pool camp to Hueco Mundo. Ding. Received the instruction and completed the switch. Uzumaki Chihiro thought for a while and said, first use 50,000 to NV2 elite units. Ding. Congratulations to host for successfully recruiting elite soldiers, Dorodoni Alessandro del Sacaccio and Taruti Sandovich. The Dorodoni mask is in the shape of a forehead protector. He has a beard and an earring on his right ear. His sleeves are decorated with thin whiskers and he is tied with a dark red belt. He looks like a middle-aged uncle. Taruti Sandovich is a female Arankar with purple wavy braids, teardrop marks on her face, and dark purple lips. She has a petite figure, a mask that looks like a hair ornament worn on the left side of her head, long fingerless gloves, a short skirt with 2 pieces on the back, and boots with suspenders. Uzumaki Chihiro glanced at it. After all, he only had 50,000 reputation points, and the Arankar he recruited was not ranked high. He opened the Hueco Mundo, threw them one by one inside, and went to keep the company of Ilfert grants. Then he said, System, consume all reputation points and recruit heroic troops.